Look, the long and short of it is I couldn't wait. Hey, it's Romania Black. Oh no. Oh no. I wondered. I was like, there's going to come a point when and people had predicted it from the start of the series. They were like, there's going to come a point where you're not going to be able to wait. And I was like, oh, well, we're doing really fine. And episodes 18 and 19 were the point where Romania was like, I can't wait anymore. So this worked out because, like I said in the last video, which was yesterday, last week, there's been a blizzard come through. And so I'm snowed into my home. I can't leave or go anywhere. And my work was canceled today. And so I was like, oh, my work's been canceled. What is a girl to do? So I'm sitting here getting ready to watch episodes 20 and 21 of Hunter x Hunter because I have the day to myself. So that's what we're at. But woohoo! Mm-hmm. Last week, or yesterday for me, last week for you all, we looked at episodes 18 and 19, and we've started the final phase of the Hunter exam, which Netero has some ideas for, mainly pitting them against each other, but it's not a battle of the fittest. It's not survival of the strongest. It's who can outlast and who can convince the others to surrender and then let them move on. So yeah, and Gon has been our guinea pig last episode as he went up against Hanzo, and Hanzo just got so frustrated of Gon's tenacity that he was like, fine, whatever. I'm not gonna have you kill yourself and me get disqualified, so just go, whatever. And Killua was just amazed by that and couldn't understand it. So we're here to see Gon passed out, and I'm going to be real with you all. I talked last week in the spoiler corner a little bit about this, if you want to go back to that video, but I don't know the outcome of what the other matches have in store. I had guesses in the spoiler corner, but I don't know if they're accurate or not, so we're gonna find out. I was literally like, I could record other things, but I really want to watch episodes 20 and 21 today, so anyway, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna watch episodes 20 and 21. Before we begin though, if you are watching on Patreon, you all are amazing. Thank you so much, patrons. I super appreciate all of your support. You all are fabulous. I'm gonna be giving a shout out to our philanthropy tier here in a hot second. If you're watching on YouTube and you are not a patron, you can become a patron and go ahead and see episodes 22 and 23 that I'm going to be recording that will jump out on Patreon a week before everything else. Or you could also go and support the channel. There are 4 different tiers that you can support. I'm giving a shout out to the philanthropy tier as well as the commission tier because they are the 2 highest tiers. They supply me with extra funds each month that are really super helpful for the channel, and I really appreciate it. So I want to give a shout out to Destiny Marie, to Zero Anti-Zero, to Fisho, to Lyndon, as well as Translucent Men, Eric Ichu, Be Happy, as well as Ghostly Turnip, Dana, Alex Cornejo, Diana Williams, Rose Jennison, Murphy, Daniel Devorin, Damage3245, as well as James, Rast, CATA, Alexander Q, Shimoyama, Sunspots, Nicholas, Sean, and Jason N. Thank you all so much, as well as everyone on Patreon. You all are amazing. All of my love. So yeah, that's what I got going into this. I talked for 3 hours last week, which was insane. When I was looking at the editing, I was like, oh my God, girl, you're getting into like AOT, JJK territories, but that's okay. That's what we're here for, right? Right? So I have a feeling people are like, oh, Hunter x Hunter is going to give Whiteboard Kun a workout, and I feel that now we've turned the corner getting into some interesting things that might do that for us. So we need to find out what we're going to get. So yeah. Anyway, I honestly have no clue what's going to happen this episode. I have ideas that started to come back to me that I talked about in the spoiler corner, but we're going to see this week if they are confirmed or what I'm going to be surprised by. So I'm so excited. But anyway, I've wasted enough time. I've talked for nearly 5 minutes. So let's go ahead and get started. Y'all know how this works down below, but I'll have timestamps throughout this video. Y'all, I just couldn't wait. I just told my mods, I was like, look, I'm going to answer comments later on this week and have them ready for next week's set, but I couldn't wait. So we are going to get started with Hunter x Hunter episodes 20, and then we're going to watch 21, and then we're going to come back and discuss. And we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's do it to it. So I was going to record a little bit earlier today, but Crunchyroll was not working, and I was like, oh no. And then I thought to myself, I really wanted to watch the episode set today, And if worse came to worse, Netflix was working and I could watch through Netflix, but I know Netflix and Crunchyroll have different subtitles and and a different format of recording. And I'm like, I've gotten comfortable with this format. So I was like, we'll just let it go for now. We'll see. Yeah, there are 9. There are 9 hunters in that opening shot. There are 9 that made it to the final phase of this exam. Coincidence? I think not. I can't really compare hunters to hunters because we don't know all the 9. We just know... I'm going to go back when we do the discussion and see if Lippo is amongst them. I don't know if he is or not. I know that Satotes was, and Minchi was. But yeah, so if worse comes to worse and Crunchyroll is a bitch, I can always go back to Netflix. Because it is on Netflix. Fly away. Is it bad that a part of me wants a figurine of Hisoka and Mr. 301? Is it a problem that I want that? I probably need a figure of Killua and Gon more. Killua and Gon and Kurapika and Leorio would be my first picks. But there's just something about Hisoka and 301 that I'm so drawn to. You know? Okay, let's get into this. Oh! Is he gonna see Jing? Come on. Come on. You running up that road, you running up that hill. Oh, bitch! Oh! With no problem. Ah, I see you've donned the Pockle fashion statement. Oh my god, it is his dad. Oh, come on! Oh, bitch, come on! Come on! That's such a tease! Such a tease! Oh, Gon's his little X band-aid. A baffling turn of events. So totes. Okay. Oopsie daisy. Oh my gosh. We're gonna talk about that. That's so weird. Well. Okay. Well, that makes sense for Hanzo. Are you a Saiyan? Oh, wow. So totes. You were there to start. You can't say no. You have to say yes! Oh, wow. That's for a 12-year-old explaining it that way. Okay, well, that's that. Okay. Oh, shit. Oh. Interesting. Huh, we're going to talk about that. Okay. So once it's taken away, you can't apply for it again? We're going to go back to this. Trust and believe. Wow. Right? Wow. We're going to talk about all this. Yeah, it's what you do now with it. I'm glad Totes is the one to tell him all this. With this smooth-ass sax. Aww. Aww, I love Satotes. Bless his heart. It's like a social security card. Don't lose it. Now, what happened? What happened? We need to know. Aww. Aww. Yeah, what happened? Yeah, what happened? Oh, shit. Okay, what happened? Oh, wow, so it only took a day. Oh. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. I like that Gon's like, why? Immediately. So Bodero's dead. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Yeah, what? Yeah, give us the recap, Satotes. Holy shit, okay. Well, he can't do that now that we know. But he can't. They should have just addressed his thing now instead of like what Satote said. Here we go. Okay, yeah. Now you say it. Oh. Interesting. Interesting. That feels like foreshadowing. Ooh. Oh. I like Hisoka giving the side eye. Oh, wow. But you didn't want Gon to hate you? But Gon didn't do that. And Gon didn't express any of that. No, that's true. Wow. Yeah. Gon's just that freaking pure. He won me over. Hisoka knows exactly what you mean. Huh. Huh. Oh. Okay. Gon's like, I don't really want to ship myself with him, but what? Okay, yeah. Let's do this. Oh, okay. Oh, what did he say? What did he say? Oh, wow. Okay. To the spoiler corner it is. So he could, so the crop got automatically passed. Okay, Pockle. Did Pockle say no? Okay. I'm not surprised by that. And then Hanzo passed. Okay, that's not surprising. Okay. Ooh, oh, ooh, ooh. Yeah. Oh. What? I wonder what he said. And so Hisoka passed. Because he didn't want to fight him. Okay. Uh-huh. Oh, bitch! Right. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God! Ah! Oh, bitch! Maybe he's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. Ah! Of course they're brothers! Ah! Holy shit! Illumi! Illumi! Well, his Illumi. Oh my God. Ah! They don't look like it. Yeah, no joke. He's like, now everybody else can see how hot he is. Oh, wow. You don't even know the half of it. Yeah. They are literally the Addams family. Oh my God. For my next job. Oh, wow. Huh. About that. Ooh. I love his costume has the pins. Oh my God. Oh. And his eyes. Oh my God. That's terrifying. Was he actually able to hypnotize him, or is that just a metaphor? They are crazy. Yeah. Seems like it. It feels like an assassin's like creed. Mmm. Mmm. You and your dad. Oh. Huh. Ooh. Ooh. Can he not put it into words? Oh. Oh. I hate seeing Killua look so distraught seeing him. Oh. Oh. Friends with Gone. Oh. Oh, Killua's face. Or Kurapika's face. Ugh. Don't tell him he can't make friends! Oh my gosh! Oh! God. Oh my God, Illumi! He's just a baby! As we've mentioned before! Illumi's like, excuse me? Excuse me? You're ready, friends! Yes. Exactly. Yeah, Baka! Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God! Ah! Oh my God! Oh, we didn't kill him, so technically. Oh, wow. Oh my God, Illumi! Oh. According to the rules, oh my God! Oh my God. Oh. Oh my God. And them damn loafers! They have psychologically, like, traumatized this kid. What are you, Itachi? What? Stop! Oh my God, Illumi. Oh my God. Oh. Oh, sweetheart. Oh my God, those eyes. Oh, wow. Wow. There's so much trauma there. Oh my God, Illumi. Oh my God. Oh. Oh. Oh my God. Oh. Gon is like, son of a bitch! I am friends with him! Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh. Oh my god. Leorio lucked out. Oh. 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 Gona's like, where is he? Nope! You sons of bitches! Oh, I love that Illumi doesn't turn around. Oh, bitch. Oh my god. Oh my god, Gon! Oh my god. Oh, I live. Oh my god. Oh, bitch. Ah! Okay, holy shit. The family drama, y'all. The family drama. We gotta start that here in 3, 2, 1. Holy shit. The family drama. I'm so glad we can talk about them being brothers now. Thank God. They are literally the Addams family. Oh my god. I mean, we know he has a mom and a dad. And he clearly has another sibling. Along with Illumi. Named Miluka? Miluka? Okay. Lippo is not included in the 9 that are on there. That's sad. Oh my god. I'm so floored. Okay. Y'all. Holy shit. That is just wild. Wild. You can smile. And with Killua! Illumi coming in with like this psychological manipulation and such toxicity. I know why Hisoka loves him. Oh my god, they're like carved out of the same cloth. I think Illumi might be worse than Hisoka in terms of that. Oh my god, Illumi. Oh. Damn. Gon coming in like the in-law that he is. To go face to face to an assassin and tell him to apologize to his brother is wild. Wild. Gon is like Arthur with the fist. Oh my god. Get it. Some brother trouble! Gon with the only child vibes coming in. Furious. Rather, Killua's brother Illumi. Lots of lulls. Lots of L's. Multiple L's. Gon's like, I came here to fish and kick ass, and my fishing pole, I can't hold in my hands. So Toads is like, I couldn't stop him. Even though he's insanely fast. Nanio. No. Oh my god. Ooh! 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 hair. Oh my God. Oh. Shit. Oh, wow. Well, obviously, we're going to have a sleepover. I'm going to rescue Killua. By you people. Oh, wow. Ahsoka's like, who, me? Ha! Oh, hello. Uh-huh. Oh, interesting. Was he hypnotized? Are we calling it like a sleeper cell thing? Mm. Uh-huh. Leorio, sit down and shut up. Is this Ace Attorney? Ooh. Hmm. Oh. Right. Doesn't speak well for Leorio. Oh, damn. Leorio catching strays. True, but then why did he? Oh. Ooh, that's personal. He also says them in Bordoro. Uh-huh. Right. What kind of bargain would you have struck? What kind of bargain would you have struck? I mean, I kind of want to know, but that's rather personal. Ooh. Well, Pockle, that's not really, yeah. Right, you had the same thing happen as well. You had the same thing happen, so shut up. None of that matters. Hmm. Oh. Oh. Hmm. Oh. Throw down the gauntlet, Gone. Ooh. I was just giving you a head pat. Hmm. Oh, interesting. Oh, Mr. Edamame! As I was saying, this whimsical music after we've had this discussion. 90% of the countries that limit immigration. Well, that's a lot. That's a lot. Yeah. Free access and a line of credit. Bless. Wow. Wow. You don't get a replacement and you can't take the test again. Wow. That's not good, actually. We need to talk about that. We need to talk about that, actually. That's not good. 1 in 5? 1 in 5 get stolen? Hold on. 7, huh? Lucky 7. Wow. Ahsoka gets the big spread. Of course he does. We're going to talk about that. Holy shit. Oh. My name's Illumi, actually. Ooh. I don't care what you think. Hmm. Nice. Oh, his parents agree. Fine. Oh. Oh. A damn mountain. Got it. Thanks. Bye, bitch. Imagine. He's like, it's not a secret or anything. Literally the Addams family. His arm. Oh. He actually broke his arm. Oh. Uh-huh. Oh. Oh! Anal's off the table if you kill him, Illumi. Oh my god. My dude. My dude. Oh my god. He's thinking about what Hisoka told him. Well, let's look for the scariest mountain on the map. We can look it up online! What a digital world we live in! Sorry about your arm. Interesting. All right. Oh. Hmm. Hmm. Interesting. Hmm. Glad you don't hold grudges. Right? Oh, an exotic game hunter, you say? Well, with the arrows, that makes sense. It's called an iPad. A laptop, you say? Oh. So Totes. Do we know him? Does Satotes know him? Oh. Ooh. Hmm. Special's a word. Special's a term. Ha! Email address is wild. You could have asked him to look that up. That's what I thought you were going to do. Well, that's a good point. That's a fair point. We'll look it up ourselves. Yeah. Oh, the way he says it totes is adorable. Yeah. What do you know, Satotes? Come on, spill the beans. Oh, kicking his little feet. Couldn't help it over here. Oh. Ooh. Oh. Oh. Uh-huh. Interesting. Mm. A craftsman loving a craftsman. Okay. Is Jing. Freaks. Freaks, huh? Aw. Of course he is. Of course. Figures. I like figures. We're all in that boat. Oh, wow. Well, that's some ominous stuff there. We should both go together, Satotes. Uh, Don't you be that way, son of a bitch. Say what you mean to say. Say what you mean to say. Your dad's a highly wanted criminal, so... Satotes. I love the violin string version of the OP. This feels very early 2000s. Oh, looks ominous. Oh, okay. Okay, interesting. Right now! Oh my god, I love all the renditions of the OP in this. Also, again, mixing the modern day with all this craziness. You can smile again. In that case, we're gonna run it. Nice. I love it. Run after your child. Go on. If you can handle all those miles with Satoshi, you can handle this. We're on a rescue mission to go get Killua. Yes, exactly. Oh. Oh. Okay. Let's get it. Let's get it! I want to see like Ahsoka and Illumi in one of the cars. Ah, yes! Oh. Oh. What? What? The real Hunter exam. What? Are you sure? What do you mean the real Hunter exam hasn't ended? It's amazing how many of those people are dead. I mean, does he mean by real Hunter exam? Does he mean like what happens after here at this point? Oh my god. Oh my god. Ugh. I am so floored by that, y'all. Ah. Oof. Oh my gosh, the drama! The family drama! Oh my god, we can finally talk about how Illumi is Killua's brother. I'm so glad it's out in the open now. Oh my God. If you've been watching my spoiler corner for the last several weeks, the moment that the pins came out from Mr. 301, Illumi, the moment the pins came out, I was like, oh my God, that's Killua's brother. That is one thing that I have remembered throughout this series. I was like, I know Killua has siblings. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I'm a little fuzzy. I know he has multiple siblings. One of them got mentioned in this episode. I know he has multiple siblings. Illumi is one. I don't quite remember the rest of them. So where we go from here is going to be a lot of fun because I don't really remember what his siblings look like. We'll talk more about it in the spoiler corner. But the moment I saw Illumi take his pins out and show Hisoka his brilliance, I remembered that. I was like, oh, that's his brother. Okay, cool. So that's exciting. I have lots to talk about with this episode, but oh my God. Wow, what an episode. So I'm going to be throwing this to Huckleberry as we go. And we're going to be talking about this, but what an episode set. There's some things I remembered in this part of the series, and there's some things I had forgot, and there's some things I wasn't paying attention to when I was grading papers, and I'm like, oh, we need to write that down, because that is some foreshadowing, if ever there was one. But yeah, did I grow up watching my mom watch soap operas? Yes, I did. Am I a big sucker for genealogy and a family tree? Yes, I am. Am I all about like family of assassins that are basically probably the Addams family? Yes, I am. So everything about Killua's family, I am so on board with. I am so excited. I cannot wait. Now, I will say this. I don't know the names of the family members. I don't want to know. We're going to find out. All I know is that Illumi is his brother. There was one like Miloka, I think is mentioned. They are mentioned in this. But otherwise, I don't know much about the actual family. I just know he has a family and they're crazy and they're kooky and altogether ooky. That's about all I know. And we're going to talk about it with Killua in this episode set. Oh my gosh. And Gon, Satotes, my heart for Satotes. I slept on Satotes the first time I watched this series. I was sleeping on Satotes. I was not giving his proper due. I most certainly was not. I freaking love him. He's maybe one of my favorite hunters right now is Satotes. Like our OG hunter. So we need to just dive into this. We need to talk about this. We're going to be writing a lot on Whiteboard Coon, but we're going to need to look at our screenshots here and start this here in 3, 2, 1. I'm glad I can call him Illumi now. It's been so I've been trying so hard not to say it and spoil people, but I was like, oh, I'm going to say it. So I forgot about this dream. So it makes sense since we're talking about the ruins, and Satotes brings that up with Jing, but this made me think of the Kate Bush song, running up that road, running up that hill with no problems. Now, the outfit that Jing is wearing here, you can see the turban that is in the motorcycle picture. That all kind of makes sense now because he has a motorcycle. If you know anything about motorcycles, they sometimes need tuning and fixing up. And maybe they are referred to as artifacts by some people. So the idea of Jing fixing up a motorcycle and having it makes a lot of sense. But the clothes he's wearing seem kind of similar to what Pakal wears. So I'm curious if maybe that's going to be a tie-in because this world that Hunter x Hunter is in has different countries and regions that have different cultures, different wardrobes. So maybe where Jing is in the same region, or he's been in the same region as where Pakal is from. Maybe that will be a clue. I feel like Pakal, since he's alive and well and gets to go on and be a hunter in the series, and he's an exotic game hunter is what he wants to become, maybe Pakal's like culture is going to come into play later. Maybe Gon is going to end up where Pakal's from and we'll see Jing, or I don't know. Jing is elusive and there's lots of questions about Jing that I have concerns about, which we're going to talk about in this. Seems legit. But yeah, I hate the fact that as Gon gets close to him, he like starts to turn around and we get just a glimpse. I want to see if I can pause it. Just a glimpse of his eyes looking back at Gon. I don't know. And Gon's like, hey, Dad, where did you get that cigarette? Did you get that carton of milk you were after? Oh, no, never mind. What a tease. What a damn freaking tease. You know what? It's okay though. Gon has like 3 adoptive fathers by this point that are more apt than Jing. So, anyway, this episode was called A Baffling Turn of Events, and a baffling turn of events it was. Also, I feel like Satotes is one of these adopted fathers. I freaking love Satotes. He's so sweet. He's so kind. I love what it means that Satotes was the first examiner to see Gon in action, and he gets to be the one to give Gon his badge, and he's the one that talks to him at the end of episode 21. Like, it's so sweet and wonderful. I freaking love Satotes. So much praise for him. He's one of my favorite hunters so far. I love it. And the fact that he kind of wants to do what Jing does, which is restore artifacts. We're going to talk about that later on. But yeah, I don't think that Satotes necessarily knew that Gon was related to Jing until Jing pointed it out. But we'll see. We have a lot to talk about in this episode set, and I'm trying not to get ahead of myself. But yeah, so he's like, well, guess what? This part here, I'm going to show you all here. Hunters are weird. Hunters are weirdos. If you didn't notice, most of the hunters that we've encountered, they're a little bit strange and a little bit eccentric. This is my case in point. This moment here, he could have just picked up the chair. He could have stood up, picked up the chair, moved it towards Gon. But no, instead he does this, where he just slowly moves himself in the chair to him. What a weird thing to have happen. What a weird thing to have happen. I'm going to turn the subtitles back on. I was getting a screenshot from this episode to use as the thumbnail. I'll tell you when we get there. But yeah, so Gon wakes up and they have these nice little dossiers that they put your hunter badge in. This nice little dossier. We're going to talk about the hunter badge. And that whole business, oh my God, that whole world of trouble is going to be opened up in this episode set. But he's like, oh, your arm's going to heal quickly. I think that there's some important things that are noted in this episode, that the devil's in the details. And on first glance, these are the type of episodes I love. These are the type of episodes that Romania Black I love to dissect and break apart and finagle with. A common viewer would look at these 2 episodes and be like, oh, they're just a recap. They're boring. There's nothing happening. No. There is so much to unravel in these episodes. It is just the devil's in the details. There's lots of little finite things. I'm sure I'm going to miss things that will come up later on. I'll be like, oh my God, we talked about this in episode 20 and 21. But, so the first thing to notice is when he says the break is very clean. He's talking about Hanzo. Hanzo being very good at his job, but also Hanzo breaking his arm in a way that was intentionally clean, so that it would heal very quickly and be stronger than it was before. Apparently we're all like Saiyans. The bone will be stronger than before. So Hanzo is doing Gon a favor, and that strikes a little bit about his personality, right? And then when Satotes is like, shake my hand, bitch, you got your hunter's license, you're now a hunter. And this is the thing. I'm glad that in the episode, they revealed to us that everybody else knows that Gon can't back down. And it was said after Hanzo left us on that cliffhanger of an ending. Well, what if Gon doesn't accept? And here, Satotes is like, no. You can't do that. He's like, you can't refuse. So I like that he just grabs Gon's hands. He's like, shake it. You don't get out of this, 12-year-old boy. And so let's talk about this. There are some stipulations about the hunter's license. So we're going to talk about the hunter license. We're going to put this up here in the corner because it is very important that we talk about this. The hunter license, that someone who has failed the exam can no longer pass. And someone who has passed, once you passed, you cannot fail. Once you pass, you pass. No take backsies. But also, you cannot retake the exam. That is factoid number 1 that is interesting. Once you've gotten your exam and they give you your little social security card, you can't refile for it. That's the one you get. Hope you hang on to it. Don't lose it. That's all you got. You can't retake the exam again. I think that's worth noting that you can retake it if you fail. You can take it as many times as you want if you fail. But once you get it, it doesn't expire as long as you have that card. As long as you have the card, you have it for life. and you can do whatever you want with it. And they give lots of options of what you can do with that card, which we'll put on Whiteboard Coon. But once you have it, you've passed the exam, you cannot retake the exam and pass again. And I do think that in terms of a fail-safe, that is good. That does make it it makes it all the more rare and appealing that you would want it, but it also makes it more special that once you have it, it also prevents like people who have taken the exam, once they've taken the exam, they're probably not going to tell anybody about it. That's the thing. It's also kind of insurance that once you've passed the exam, you're probably not going to tell people how you passed or what it was like, because you don't want them to know that information. You had to work hard for it. Why should they get an easy pass? So it's kind of like insurance to keep people from talking about the exam and revealing that information. But also it makes it that once you get the card, you are more likely to hold on to it. My dogs are going to play with each other. Once you get the card, you're more likely to hold on to it because you don't get the opportunity to retake the exam. So you're going to be more secure with it. Allegedly, but we're going to talk about that later. Someone who's passed can no longer fail. The rest is up to you. If you feel you are unqualified, you can destroy or put away your license. So that's two. Once you pass, you cannot retake the exam. So if you don't feel qualified or you don't want to be a hunter, you can, your options are you can destroy your card. You can destroy your card if you don't want to use it. I don't know why somebody would, but if you feel that badly about it, or you can put it away. You can hide it and not use it. That's an option that you can do. And he says also, you are welcome to sell it. You could even sell it, but since no one else will be able to use it. So you could even sell your card. You can sell your hunter's card. That, we're also going to put that it can be stolen or taken is the part there. That I'm going to put this little RF for red flag around. Here's the thing that's kind of scary about the whole selling it is it would be very difficult to prove that you stole the card or took it if that person you took it or stole it from was dead. Because then you could just say, oh, well, they sold it to me and then they suddenly met a crazy demise. What are the odds? What a coinkydink. Yeah. There's a lot of options that open up in this that are kind of freaky. And we're going to talk about that. So yeah, no one else will be able to use it. However, he says a person who has passed the exam will not be allowed to take it again. Professional hunters are treated well and largely due to our predecessors' efforts. So there is a talk here. There is a talk here, and my dog is being rather ridiculous. I don't know what you want, buddy. Where there is a talk of that hunters are treated well. The hunters being, let me put this up here, treated well is due to the efforts of the past generation. Yeah, the current generation is able to benefit and be privileged because of the hard work from those that came before them. That's going to kind of tie back into this, I'm sure, and be something this series is going to talk about. There's a lot of legacy involved with this. Hence, there are many applicants who harbor ill intentions. Oh, yes. Yes, we are certain that there are. And then Satot says that if it weren't for them, then we would accept every person who applied. It's like we have to be selective for a reason. So yeah. Okay. We're going to talk about this card because there's a lot going into it. I like that it just looks like a social security card that you can scan. It also looks like a library card. And he's like, most people would consider this card more valuable than their own lives. That's the thing. Once you find out what all this card is good for, you can see why they would think that. And he's like, half the battle is making sure. I like this. Satot's also recognized it's a worthless scrap of paper at the same time. He's like, isn't that funny? This little piece of paper is practically worthless, but we put so much value into it that some people regard it more important than their lives. It feels like a analogy for capitalism, an analogy for greed and money, because it's just paper. It doesn't actually hold meaning except the meaning that we give it, you know? So Toads would probably say the same thing about cryptocurrency. So it's an interesting concept that he talks about here. He says the important thing is what you accomplish once you become a hunter. It's kind of like once you get money, the important thing is what do you do with that money? Now that you have this wealth, what do you do with it? So there's this concept here of with wealth comes power. And we're going to equate wealth to the card. And then what do you do with it? You've got this power now. How are you going to let it define you? What are you going to accomplish now that you're a hunter? It's like becoming a hunter was the easy part. Now it's like, what are you going to do now? And Gon's like, what I accomplish is like, I'm just looking for my dad. And he's like, okay, Gon-kun, you can decide when you're ready to use this card. Okay. So Gon takes it and he's like, fine. And I like that Gon acknowledges, he's like, a lot of people helped me get here, so I'm not going to, shirk from that. But he wants to know what went down. And I like this. Satotes is like, let me congratulate you. Just the sweetheart of it all. He's such a sweetheart. So that's when he asks about, is the exam still going on? And Satotes is like, no, you slept for a day. It's over. And Gon very calmly is like, who failed? They're at an orientation. Who failed? Right out the gate. We're not messing around. And then we get the shot of Killua. We get the shot of Bodero, and it's like Killua. And here's the thing. Gon's response is why? He doesn't have, Gon knows that Killua's an assassin, that he's capable of killing people. And Gon's response is, okay, why did Gon fail? Why did Killua fail? Like, he doesn't ask who Killua killed. He doesn't he didn't actually know that Killua killed anybody yet. He just knows Killua failed. And he's like, okay, why? That in itself is showing that Gon is not blaming Killua. He's not assuming anything about Killua. He's just been told a fact and he wants to know the circumstances surrounding that fact. And that is just, Gon is Killua's best friend. And he's like, and Satotes is like, well, you're handling this rather calmly, so I'm going to tell you what transpired. It will help you understand what occurred. The ability for Gon to rationalize all this as a 12-year-old is just crazy. So, Gon passes out. They basically explain what Satotes has just said to him. And this part here, to me, felt like foreshadowing. I don't know if any of you all thought that as well, but it felt like foreshadowing to me, where Netero says, if Gon were to throw a fit and kill me, then there would be nothing. We still wouldn't be able to revoke his license. Red flag number 2. Red flag number 2 is that you can kill people. You can kill people, and that does not take your license. That's red flag. Red flag number 2. I do think it's kind of somewhat foreshadowing. Do I think that Gon will actually kill Netero? No, I do not think so. Do I think Gon is going to threaten Netero in the future? I don't know. Here's my thing. I'm going to talk about, there's a moment later on in this episode where Netero does something that made me think that he knows about Jing. I mean, there's been lots of things we've talked about in this episode so far, or in this series rather, where I'm like, Netero knows Jing. He knows Jing. He knows Gon's related to Jing. He's the president of the committee. Of course he does. There's things that I'm like, Netero's the president of the entire Hunter organization. He knows everybody. So you cannot tell me he does not know who Jing is. I feel like there are reasons why Jing can't see Gon. I don't know what those reasons are yet. We're going to talk about later in this episode, but I'm like, Netero knows things. And do I think that he's been hiding and is hiding currently things from Gon? Yes, I do. But what those are, I don't know. But I think Gon will, we're going to come back to that by the end of this series, I feel like. And that's when Killua says, why did you let him win? And I wasn't expecting Hanzo to have this reaction. He's like, I could have made Gon surrender. I could have kept torturing him. But he's like, when I torture people, I expect them to hate me. I expect them to want to come after me. And so I know that that's what's likely after I torture them, that they're going to have hatred towards me. But he's like, I felt none of that towards Gon. Gon never hated me. And he's like, he won me over. I just, I was like, I didn't want to fight somebody that bore me no ill will. And for Killua, that's like such a foreign concept. Like, no ill will. What? Like, just how to, that, we're going to talk a lot about Killua in this. I do think that Gon has not shown ill will to anybody except Hisoka. Now, Hisoka, Gon has shown some anger towards. Gon has shown some hatred towards Hisoka. Towards Hisoka because he doesn't want to feel powerless and doesn't want to owe him anything. So that has definitely been the case with him, but I don't think anybody else. So anyway, he talks about, he's like, Gon is not. And I like that Hisoka in that moment, he says, I guess you could say that he won me over. And then it cuts to Hisoka, and Hisoka just barely smiles. And I'm like, Hisoka's been won over as well. Gon has that effect, right? Even though Gon is really hesitant around Hisoka. And Killua just can't understand that. He's like, I don't understand what it means to win somebody over without showing any hatred or any aggression. Killua has not been raised like that. Killua has been raised to be an assassin, which is very present in this episode. So yeah, he's like, Gon, you were able to win over your opponent. And he's like, Hanzo said so himself. So that's the Totes talking to him about it. And Gon's like, well, I didn't know I could do that. So let's break down here the order of the people who pass. So those who pass the exam. The first person to pass was Gon. Gon was our number one of the 7 that end up passing. He passes first. And so then the second match began, which was Kurapika versus Hisoka. Now, I'm going to wait till the spoiler corner to talk mainly about this match. I'm going to wait till the spoiler corner because I have things to say about that, but I can't talk now. But what ends up happening is that Kurapika is number 2 because Hisoka throws the match. He throws the match. Now, why would Hisoka throw the match? I have speculations of what he said to Kurapika, but why would Hisoka throw the match? I think the answer is because again, Hisoka has this thing where he's like, you don't need to die until it's the perfect time. And because he accepted the bribe from Kurapika and Leorio back on Zevil Island, I think that Hisoka finds there to be potential in both Kurapika and Leorio. And so he's like, I don't want to fight either of you right now because I feel like down the road, I want to kill you then. I'm going to save you for later down the road. Like Gon, he's like, the avocados are not ripe yet, so we're just going to let him go, right? Whereas Bodoro, I think he was like, no, you can die anytime. Bodoro, he was like, you can go anytime. So that's what happened in that match. And Kurapika won. There is like a little cut on Kurapika's face, though. We're going to come back to that. But Hisoka voluntarily conceded. So then we had Hanzo versus Pakal. And Hanzo is our next winner because Pakal immediately surrenders. I'm not surprised by that. I'm not surprised by that at all. I'm not surprised that he immediately conceded because Pakal's like, I can't face this guy. I'm going to wait and fight another day. And that was it. Then there was Hisoka versus Bodoro. Now, again, Hisoka clearly is stronger than Bodoro. And as he convinces Bodoro to surrender. Now, what he said to Bodoro, here's the thing. The thing that sucks is Bodoro's dead now. So, the thing is he's dead now. So what can we do with that? I don't know. Did Hisoka sparing Bodoro, did he threaten to kill him afterwards if he didn't let him win? Maybe he told him that. Like, here's the thing. Bodoro's dead, so we don't know unless Hisoka tells us later what was said. We don't know exactly what it was. I think maybe Hisoka will say later what it was, but I don't know. But did he say to Bodoro that once you win, he's like, once I've won the exam and you know I will, I'll come and kill you if you don't surrender now? Maybe he said that. That would have been very convincing because Bodoro knows that Hisoka can kill him. Or maybe, did he set Bodoro up for Killua to kill later? Was he in on it with Illumi? I don't know. We're going to talk about Illumi and Killua later. But in any case, Hisoka was number 4. Hisoka was number 4. He's the number of death. Of course he is. Number 44, and now he's the 4th to pass. Imagine that. So then, Pakal is number 5. And Killua said that he was not going to face Pakal because he didn't think Pakal was worth his time. He got cocky. kid got cocky. He got cocky. He was like the Broncos against the Patriots. And I'm still mad about it. In the championship game, he got cocky and didn't take the field goal when you had the chance. No, damn it. That's what sucks so much. I'm like, Killua, if you had just tortured him from the start, Pakal already gave up. If it was Pakal versus Botaro, none of this would have... Yeah, sure, Botaro probably would have lost, but there's a very good chance that no one would have died. Botaro probably would have just lived through it, or it could have been... But who knows? It could have been Leorio that didn't win. We don't know. But I'm like, damn it, Killua, you just folded. And you're like, not worth my time. That was his crucial mistake. He could have beaten Pakal. But, again... There is this running theme with Killua, and we're going to put Killua over here, where Killua has been told that all he can do is run or kill. That's all he can do. He's been drilled that into his head by Illumi and their dad. And we're going to talk about it. But... So maybe Killua was afraid that if he fought Pakal, his bloodlust would get the better of him and he'd kill him. Maybe that was it. But damn it, Killua just threw it. He could have avoided all of this. So he's like, I'm not interested in fighting you. And he felt he could win his next match. However, that was his mistake. This was his mistake. And then Leorio, of course Leorio, who is the most, empath of the group. Leorio is like, oh, let's let Botaro recover from injuries. I give Leorio some props that he didn't choose the easy way out. Leorio could have battled Botaro when he had those injuries from Hisoka. He could have done that and could have easily won. But Leorio was being fair. Give the man props. That was really sweet. So then, he's like, okay, Killua and Giracker fought first. All right, look, I said this way back. That's when Killua made a fatal mistake. I like that Killua was approaching him slowly because he doesn't know who he is or what to do with him. And then that's when he says, it's been too long, Kill. The fact that Killua is nicknamed by his brother as Kill, does he call him Ill? Or maybe just Lumi? Maybe Lumi. And then Killua's like, what the fudge? The moment he took the pins out. Also, one thing to note is that I like that Illumi's jacket that he wears has the pins on it too, but they look like buttons. Also, Illumi and Hisoka, both of them wearing the crop tops with the snatched waists. I mean, can you get more boyfriend coded? We're going to talk about that in episode 21. But yeah, okay. When I said this in the spoiler corner, we first met Mr. 301, aka Illumi. When we first met him, I was talking in the spoiler corner. I was like, I think that he's Killua's brother, but I'm not sure. I was like, for some reason, I feel like he takes the pins out and he has this Sailor Moon-esque transformation. And then when he did it with Hisoka on Zevil Island, I was like, that's not what I remember. I was like, that's not it. It's not as lush. His hair's not as luscious and luxurious. I'm like, why is it not what I thought? It's because of this. This is what I was remembering, was his hair flowing out like Queen Beryl from Sailor Moon, which Tagashi's wife is the mangaka for Sailor Moon, so of course. But this is what I was remembering. It was this moment where he transforms back. That hair flowing, and the way they animated Killua looks petrified. Also, can we just say, poor Killua, but Illumi has the best hair in the entire series. It's so luxurious. It's so like L'Oreal be damned. He has the best hair. It's so good. But that is the face of a very traumatized little cat. That is the face of a cat that's been to the vet before and knows what happens at the vet and is going there again. That is a traumatized kitten. And we're going to talk about Illumi, but Killua has clearly been tortured by his dad. We can assume that much. And Illumi. And Illumi also, we're going to put Illumi up here. Illumi likes to assert control over Killua. I think because Illumi knows that Killua might end up becoming stronger than Illumi is. And so he's like, he wants to nip it in the bud and make Killua fear Illumi so that he won't threaten him. Because do I think that Killua could probably take Illumi? I mean, Killua's 12 and doesn't have a lot of experience, at least not as much as Illumi in comparison. Do I think Killua could take Illumi in the end? Yeah, I think he could. I think he could take Illumi in a fight. But he's been so psychologically manipulated and traumatized by his older brother, he's convinced himself that he can't. And that's what sucks the most. He is traumatized by his brother. And then everybody's like, oh, would I have ever guessed that Killua and Illumi were brothers? No. Never! I never would have guessed they were related. If I didn't know already, I would never have guessed because they look nothing alike. I like that their names, Illumi and Killua, both have the L's in it. And I think there was another sibling mentioned and they had 2 L's in their name. Interesting. Yeah. Also, Illumi, our little bean, we're going to talk about him. He is terrifying. Not as terrifying as Hisoka, but he is terrifying nonetheless. So yeah, Illumi. So I like that Gon's like, what? What in the soap opera is this? And Satotes is like, quite. Satotes is like, quite. His name is Illumi. And so poor Killua. If you looked at this cobbler and the thief mofo, he just looks so not threatening. He looks like a doll. Illumi looks like a doll. He looks like a doll. He looks so not threatening, but I think that's what makes him threatening, is that Killua has probably seen Illumi at his worst when he is scary, and so just seeing him in the flesh is freaking him out. It's interesting that Killua did not know he could do the acupuncture trick with his face. He's like, oh, hey. And Killua just broke out in sweat. And Leorio and Kurapika are like, oh, interesting. He used those needles to change the shape of his face. Hisoka's just like, ugh. Hisoka is like, oh, now everybody knows that you're hot, and now it's not just me. I can't just savor it for myself. And Netero's like, not surprised. Also, the height difference is kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. Oh. Clearly, puberty has not struck Killua yet. And so he's Miluki. I heard that you cut up Mom and Miluki. So we find out that Killua escaped. I'm going to say escaped. If you had to cut up your mom and your sibling to get out of there, I'm going to say escaped. You escaped from the mom, and we have another sibling, Miluki. Miluki. Interesting. I feel like Illumi is like with Illuminati. I feel like that's the connection. And Miluki just also has the word kill in it as well. Literally, Killua's name is Kill. So this family has a lot of obsession with illiterate nomenclature. And then Killua's like, I guess I did that. He's like, Mom was crying. There are a few moments in this episode set where I feel like, and I don't know if it's fair to say this, but I feel like Illumi is kind of on a neurodivergent spectrum. I feel like he is, just based on how he acts, like some of his social cues that he doesn't get in this episode. I'm like, are you? And that's not to say anything bad. I just think it's what he is. I think it's part of him. And then Leorio's like, anybody would cry if their son did that to them. And Illumi's like, well, actually, our mom is really happy about that because they're assassins. So it's a sign he's growing up. I'm like, oh my God. That's why I say the Addams family. They literally strike me as the Addams family. I'm picturing Gomez and Morticia as their parents. Literally. And Killua's like Pugsley. I don't know if that makes Illumi Wednesday. I don't know if that's how that works, but maybe there's another sibling. Maybe Miluki is like Wednesday. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, she was happy that Killua cut her up because that means he's grown up. But she was worried about you leaving home, so she asked me to check up on you. Yeah, so that makes me think that Killua got out of there and escaped. And he's like, I didn't know you wanted to become a hunter. And he's like, well, I didn't. Now, Illumi says he needs to become a hunter so that he can do his next job. So we're going to put over here that Illumi needs to be a hunter for their next job. We know by now that Illumi is number 6. Illumi is going to be number 6 to pass. And then we know that Leorio, by default, is number 7. Poor Leorio. He catches no break in this arc. He just gets to pass by default. That's it. He's like, I'm going to catch it. And Killua's like, I'm just taking the exam. I don't really want to become a hunter. And he's like, well, that's a relief because I have some advice for you. And he's like, you're not cut out to be a hunter. Now, let's talk about this. Do I think that Illumi is actually hypnotizing Killua? Because that's brought up in episode 21 if he's been hypnotized or not to act out. I don't think that Killua was literally hypnotized. I think it's a metaphorical hypnotism. And what I mean by that is I think that Illumi is so toxic and so manipulative and has traumatized Killua into this kind of like Munchausen by proxy state where he's basically convinced Killua of his worthlessness. And that is a real thing where parents or siblings or family have convinced other family or siblings or children of their worthlessness, and they've gotten them into an abusive, toxic environment. That is exactly what has happened with Killua here. Was Killua actually hypnotized? Even though they showed like the swirls in Illumi's eyes, I don't think that's real. I think it's metaphorical. Because when he says here, you're not cut out to be a hunter, well, of course Illumi would not want Killua to be a hunter, because if you're trying to control somebody in an abusive environment and you're trying to control them, you don't want that person you're trying to control to have options. You don't want them to have options. You want to keep them in a little cage so you can control them. And that is exactly what Illumi is trying to do. He is trying to convince Killua that he can only be an assassin and do what they tell him to. He's like, you're basically our assassin. We'll tell you what to do. And that's all you're good at. You're just going to be a trained assassin. And that's the way it's going to work for you. And if Killua got the chance to become a hunter, he would have access to all of these things. And Illumi's like, that would make it so much harder for us to control you. And they don't want that to happen. So it's really sad. It's really sad you were born to be a killer. And the moment that this is said to him, I love the visual of poor Killua and how he views. I love that Gon is kind of like taken aback by that. Like, what? He doesn't have to be a killer. Killua can choose whatever path he wants. Like, Gon was immediately thrown off by Illumi. He was like, no, I don't like any of this. I don't like what you're saying here. He's like, well, Killua mentioned his family before. He wasn't finished yet. He says, you're a puppet of darkness without passion. That's the thing. They want Killua to remain a puppet that they can control. That's it. And in order for that to work, they have to convince Killua that that's exactly what it is. He's like, you don't wish for anything or want for anything. You're just one that lives in the shadows, and you can only feel pleasure when you kill someone. That's how Dad and I raised you. So Illumi's had quite a hand in raising Killua. We don't know about the mom or the siblings. Maybe they were off doing their own thing, and the mom raised some of the kids, and the dad and Illumi raised Killua. We don't know the full family tree yet, so it's fine. But essentially, he wants Killua to be a puppet that they can control. That's basically what this is. And it almost felt like what he was saying to Killua, if you wanted to go the hypnotism route, it kind of almost seemed like he was activating like the sleeper cell within Killua. Like, when I say these things, you're going to become an assassin. It seemed almost like that, but I don't quite think that it was. I think Killua was so mad in that moment. I think Killua was so upset and angry. And all Killua has been taught to do growing up is that when you're sad and upset and angry, you kill something. Like, that's literally, it's like Pavlovian. It's been drilled into him like a dog. And so all he knew in that moment was to lash out with his anger. And it's like on the airship. When he was on the airship, he was getting pissed. He didn't want Gon to see him like that, so he left the room and killed those other two guys. But now there's nowhere for him to leave. He can't leave the room, so he took it out on Bodero. Poor Bodero! He didn't ask for any of that, and he just got caught up in the circumstance. And he's like, what would you accomplish by being a hunter? I like that Illumi just stares at him. He's like, I don't desire to become a hunter, but I do have something I want. And Illumi's like, there's nothing you want. Again, it's an aspect of control. Him and his dad want to control Killua. And he's like, what could you possibly want? And then I like that he's like, well, what's wrong? There's nothing you really want. And it takes a lot for Killua to admit this, but he's like, I want to become friends with Gon. That's all he wants. This 12-year-old just wants to be a kid and have a friend. That's so sweet. That's all he wants. Is to just have that friendship. And this little, like, Killua in the spotlight, I feel like the moment I want Gon, the moment he sees Killua, I want him to give him the biggest hug and be like, you have a friend, and it's me. I was shipping them anyway. I've been shipping them since the sleepover back in Trick Tower. I have been, but this has really cemented it. I was like, Gon needs to go find you and save you and tell him that you do have a friend. Like, freaking, it's like Woody and Buzz Lightyear. Like, stop it. And he's like, I'm sick of killing people. Like, for Killua to be like, I don't want to just kill. And he's like, Gon's someone that doesn't judge him. And Gon just wants to be friends with him. He's like, I want to have a friend in Gon. Now, does that mean that Killua will never kill again once he becomes friends with Gon again? Because you know what's going to happen. But he may kill somebody in the future, but you can tell that he wants to change his life. And Kurapika and Leorio, like, totally empathize with him, right? I feel like that wins them both over. Killua confessing this. I think that Leorio's had some hesitation around Killua from Trick Tower, and Kurapika's had some hesitation from Trick Tower as well, but once this gets established, I think both of them are on board. Like, he just wants to be friends with Gon. He wants to change who he is. And there's nothing wrong with that. He wants to live a normal life. And Illumi's like, no, that's impossible. I mean, on the one hand, I don't think Illumi's wrong in a sense, because Killua is from a family of assassins, and you know that that family is targeted by hunters, by other people. So is there like a twisted part of this where I think that maybe Illumi and his dad, hear me out, maybe in Illumi and his dad, part of it is to make it to where it's kind of like A Boy Named Sue, the Johnny Cash song, where they're like, you know, this world's really tough and these hunters are after our family because we're assassins. So we're going to make you tough, Killua, so that you can survive no matter what the world dishes out to you. There's like a 5% chance that that's part of it, but then the other 95% is they're wanting to control him and make him an assassin puppet. Yes. But I do think that Illumi does strike a chord in saying, like, no, you can't live a normal life. You're part of an assassin family. If people know who you are, you can't be normal. Also, if you're a hunter, you can't live a normal life. That's never going to happen. He's not wrong, but I think that Illumi misses what Killua is really striking at. And that just cuts to the core of Illumi. He's like, that's impossible. But then this is the part. It's like Illumi could have explained being like, you know, you're never going to just be a normal person because you're from an assassin family or you're a hunter. Then he like takes the wound and opens it up and dumps a bunch of salt into it and says you'll never be able to make friends. And I like Leorio's like, he's already made friends, you know? And he's like, your only concern when you meet someone is whether you should kill them. And Illumi tests that, because later on we're going to talk about him in Hisoka's scene, his testing of whether he should kill Gon or not, and Hisoka's like, no. But he's like, that's how you were trained. I just feel so bad for Killua in this scene. I feel so bad for him because he knows how he was trained. He's trying to do better. And it's just like, it's like when you've been to a bunch of AA meetings and then your brother shows up with a big wine cart and it's just, it throws it all out the window. He's like, you just don't know how to classify Gon because he's too dazzling for your eyes. And the scary part is that back in the last episode set, if Illumi knew what Killua had been thinking, Illumi probably would have used that against him, been like, you were determining why he was getting better performance than you. You were weighing whether you should kill him or not. And that wasn't the case, but you could see how it could be spun in Killua's head as well as Illumi by his words to think that way. You don't actually want to become friends with him. And whenever him and Gon meet back up, because you know they're going to, you know it's going to happen, I wouldn't be surprised if Killua was like, back during that exam, I wasn't thinking of how safe you were when you were fighting Hanzo. I was questioning why you were the one getting to pass and why you were the one higher performance than me. And Gon's not going to care. Gon's like, well, that's understandable. And poor Killua being like, you're wrong. If you stay with him, you'll end up wanting to kill him one day. I disagree with that. I feel like Killua I feel like Killua, Illumai says that one day he will want to kill Gon. Now, we're going to throw down the gauntlet. Is it foreshadowing that that day will come and Killua will have to make a decision on whether or not to kill Gon? I can't imagine a situation in which that would happen, but that line is to set down a precedent of either one of two things is going to happen. Either there will come a moment where Gon will snap or something will drive him crazy and Killua will have to make that decision, or Gon will think that Killua will need to kill him and Killua will say, no, I'm not doing it. I don't know what the circumstance behind that would be, but that's what this line is setting up. It's throwing down the gauntlet to a challenge. And Killua, he's like, you'll get the urge to see if you can kill him or not. Because you have the soul of a killer. And poor Killua, he's like, I don't want to have the soul of a killer. He's like, literally it's Killua trying to defy what's been drilled into him by his father and his brother. I hate it. I hate it so much. And then I like that Leorio's like, yeah, I know I'm not going to get in the way. But he's like, I don't give a damn if he's your brother. He's a worthless piece of crap. I like Illumi's like, well, excuse me. Illumi with his hand on his hip, looking like he's Ahsoka's boyfriend. He's like, don't listen to him. Just beat the crap out of him like usual and win. You want to become friends with Gon? Well, are you daft? You're already friends with him. Yeah, and that snaps Killua out of it because Killua was like, oh yeah, we are. And I like that moment because Killua like jumps, he's realized, and you can see Illumi kind of visually like he recognizes it. He's like, I'm sure that's how Gon feels. And then Illumi's like, really? Wow. He's like, hell yeah, Baka. And then he's like, oh wow, well that's no good. Again, there's some social cues that Illumi takes that I'm like, sir? He's like, oh, well, we can't have that. He considers Kill a friend. He's like, okay, I'll kill Gon. Now, does that align with Illumi's line of thinking that he's told Killua what he has to have, whether or not you should kill that person? Yes, it does. I want you to take note of who pays attention when this is brought up. He's like, I'll kill Gon. And immediately, Killua is like, oh my god, because I think Killua thinks that Illumi could kill Gon. I think that Killua believes that Illumi is one of the most threatening people in the series. Now, is Illumi actually one of the most threatening people? He's up there, but I don't think he's one of the most threatening. I think Hisoka's more threatening. But Killua believes that he is, because Killua's been trained to believe that. Leorio is freaked out. Kurapika's freaked out, because that's their foster child that's being threatened. But then the only other two that we see reactions from are Hisoka and Netero. Now, Hisoka we'll talk about later why Hisoka's like, now hold on now. Let's not get crazy. We'll talk about Hisoka here in a little bit in episode 21. Netero does not want Gon to die. Netero, Mr. Oh, who cares? It's a hunter exam. Who cares who dies? He doesn't want Gon to die. I am convinced that Netero and Jing have a thing. Not a shipping thing. Oh God, can you imagine? No, not a shipping thing. No, we're not there. But I do think that Netero and Jing are intertwined in some kind of God, when I say in some kind of relationship, it makes me sound like I'm shipping them. I'm really not. This is the one time Romania is not shipping people. I do think Netero and Jing know each other. And I think that Netero is helping to keep Jing protected and his identity away from everything else, and Gon included. So he also knows Jing enough to know that Gon doesn't need to die, because I'm sure Jing's been like, protect my kid if he ever comes around. So yeah, we'll see about that. But anyway, this is terrifying. Him looking like freaking Wolverine over here. A killer doesn't need friends. They'll only slow you down. I'm like, oh my God. You know what? And the thing that's so sad is that like, you could instantly see how this rhetoric could be rebuked. But one, Killua 12. He's a child still. Two, Killua is used to having this rhetoric drilled into his head, so it's very hard for him to think up an answer because he's so intimidated and scared of Illumi because of how he's been raised and been Pavlovian trained to fear him. Because Gon didn't give a shit. Gon wasn't scared of Illumi at all. He was like, get out. Illumi didn't scare him at all. Yeah. And so he's like, well, where is he? He's like, I'll go find him. That's terrifying because Killua loves Gon. And he just doesn't want Gon to get hurt. And he knows that there's a high chance that Illumi would hurt his brother or hurt his friend. And he's like, well, please wait. And then, here's the thing. Illumi doesn't kill that guy, but he makes his face, like, distort, which is insane. He's like, tell me where he is. And he's in the wing. Yep, where is he? He's in the wing. So then, I love that Hanzo, Leorio, and Kurapika stop him being like, no, you're not just going to go kill him. And at that moment, he says, oh, this won't do. He's like, I need a hunter license to do my job. And I won't get, but if I kill them and I'll fail, and kill will pass automatically. So, oh darn, the same thing will happen if I kill Gon. I'm like, did you forget all that, sir? Did you get a one-track mind? What? That's why I think that I think that Illumi might be a little bit on the spectrum. I think he might be. That's not a bad thing. That's just how he is. He just got sidetracked and forgot all that. I'm like, sir, come on now. And so he's like, oh yeah. And he looks kind of like a little cucumber, like a little saggy cucumber in that moment where he like tilts his head. Yeah. So he's like, oh, I know. I'll pass the exam before killing Gon. And then that just gets Killua, because at that moment, Killua realizes that there's nothing he can do. Again, Gon had that sense of powerlessness against Hisoka. We have two boys. We have Killua. We have Gon. Both of them feel powerless against these two boyfriends. One is Killua's brother, Illumi. The other one is Hisoka, Illumi's boyfriend. And Gon and Killua, who should be together, are all, it's just these two pairs. And one pair is intimidated by the other pair. And their challenge in this series is to overcome that intimidation. I'm throwing the gauntlet down now. Gon's quest is to overcome Hisoka. Killua's quest is to overcome Illumi. That is part of it. That's part of their quest in this series, to overcome them. Yeah. And then, here's the thing, Illumi's like, so if I wait until after I pass the exam, I can kill everyone here and still keep my license, right? And Netero says, yes, according to the rules. I would maybe reevaluate those rules. I don't know, can you not reevaluate them over time? He's like, did you hear that, Kill? You have to beat me if you want to save Gon. And then he's like, will you fight me for your friend's sake? You can't do that because you're more worried about whether or not you can defeat me. And again, that goes back to like the spirals in his eyes are going back to what has been drilled into Killua's head since he was a kid. And it's the things he's been talking about the last several episodes. He's like, you already have your answer. I'm not strong enough to beat my brother. Never fight an enemy you can't beat. My father and I drilled that into you. That line there. So Illumi is basically that idea of never fight if you can't win. What is Killua? Tai Chi from Chihaya Furu? Yeah, never fight if you can't win. And we've seen that in action. We saw that the first time that Killua noticed Hisoka, he ran away. Killua's thing has been either defeat the enemy or disengage and don't fight them. He's like, I drilled that into you. Again, there is a part of that if you weren't realizing how toxic all of this is, there's a part of it that could be like, well, Illumi was teaching his brother, don't fight a fight you can't win because he's trying to keep him safe. But Illumi also takes it to such a toxic extreme, it's insane. But, oh my god. Yeah, if you move an inch, I'll assume that the fight's begun. He tried this move on Gon, and Gon moved. So, to me, I'm like, the fight began between Gon and Illumi. Because Gon moved. He jumped out of the way. He was like, oh no, hell no, I'm not getting near you. No. And instead, he's like, if you don't fight me, your dear Gon will die. And they're like, well, we won't let you kill Gon or hurt Killua. And then he surrendered. I think this is what hurts Killua the most, is the fact that Killua, he wasn't strong enough. He wasn't strong enough to face his brother. He wasn't strong enough to face his brother, and he did the opposite of Gon. I feel like this gutted Killua, because last episode, Killua literally watched Gon have his arm broken, get the shit beat out of him, have a sword to his face and cut into his forehead. Like, he watched Gon be tortured, and every single time Gon got back up and he's like, I'm not surrendering. Nope, I'm not surrendering because this means so much to me. I'm not going to let you surrender. And it won Hanzo over. But Killua is so convinced that there is no way to win Illumi over. It's never going to work. He's also convinced himself that he can't beat Illumi, but now Killua feels so bad because he's like, I thought I was on the same level as Gon. I couldn't even say never once. I immediately surrendered when I was faced with something hard. And I think that just broke him. I think that just broke Killua's spirit. And then he had all this pent up frustration and aggression, and he took it out on the first thing he could, which unfortunately was Botaro. That's what he did. And yeah. And Illumi's like, oh, well, that's good. That face. And Illumi's like, oh my God, thank goodness that you just gave up. See, was that so hard? Toxic. Like, I love Illumi and Hisoka and the weird freaky shit they got going on together, but I swear Britney Spears Toxic needs to play in this entire episode. That is terrifying. Illumi's like, see, was that so hard? The battle's over now. And then he like pats him on the shoulder. That's insane. That's so crazy. He's like, I lied, Kill. I was lying about killing Gon. That was just a little test. That's now I have my answer. And this part here, he's like, see what I tell you? It's literally like somebody would treat a dog. It's horrible. He's like, you don't have the right to make friends. That's what breaks him. That's so hard. That's heartbreaking. That's so awful. Like, he was like, I was never going to kill him, but now I know that you... He's like, how could you be Gon's friend if you were willing to sacrifice him just now to save yourself? And the thing about it is, Gon is going to forgive him. Gon is going to forgive him. He's going to be like, that wasn't fair. That was horrible. He's like, you should just listen to Dad and me and do your job as you always have. Yeah, they just want him to be a puppet. They just want him to do whatever their dad... I think because Illumi and the dad know that Killua has the potential to be stronger than both of them. So they're trying to keep him on a leash so that he can't act up. And when the time comes, I'll tell you to take the hunter exam. That's insane. That's basically Illumi's like, you're going to do exactly what we say. And when it's time for us to use you as our little employee, we'll tell you what to do. It's very Yakuza coded. It's very mafia. It's so heartbreaking. After that, he was reduced to a shell of himself. I love that Gon is just like, nope. He just storms. He's like, I heard enough. Like, Gon is so pissed. So pissed. He's so mad. And Leorio and Kurapika tried to help, but he wouldn't respond. And then there was Leorio and Botaro. Botaro had recovered when the match began. But then Killua was just, that was it. And a part of me is like, did Killua as well? Did Killua think that there was no point in him becoming a hunter and that it wasn't going to work out, so he just let Leorio have the moment? Because he targeted Botaro instead of Leorio, so what do we do with that? Okay, and then the committee disqualified him and he walked off. And he's like, you need more rest, Gon-kun. Here's the thing. If Satotes really wanted to stop Gon, Satotes is freaking faster than Gon. He could have stopped him, but he didn't. Instead, he let them all show up. Now, want to point out here, Hanzo's all by himself over here in this lecture hall. Pakal is up front with his laptop, as I would be. I would be Pakal. Oh, Illumi and Hisoka have 3 benches apart, because they're not gay. And then Leorio and Kurapika are just catty corner, as you do. And then Gon just walks straight up to... I like that he walks past Hisoka. Like, Gon was so pissed at Illumi, he didn't even bother to look at Hisoka. Didn't even care. He just walked up and was like, looked him straight in the eye. And I like Illumi's like, who are you? And he's like, you're gonna apologize to your brother. I love it. I freaking love it. Apologize to Killua. And I just love that Illumi's like, excuse me? Like, crazy! Crazy. And Kurapika and Leorio are baffled. Hisoka's like, okay, let's see what happens here. The drama. I also like that the little bandage on Gon's forehead is in the shape of the X for Hunter x Hunter. They didn't make it a cross, they made it the X. It's very on point. It's very on brand. Okay, I know I've talked almost an hour about this one episode again, but it bears repeating. We need to talk about this. So, let's get into this episode. Gon is pissed. Some brother trouble. He is furious with Illumi. Marches up there to him, broken arm and all, and then I like Illumi's like, why should I apologize? For what? He's like, no. He's like, you don't have the right to be his brother, says the most only child of only children. Yeah, Gon is having none of this. I love it. I love seeing sassy Gon. And Illumi's like, must I earn the right to be his brother? Like, they're so Addams Family coded. I love it. Yeah. And then Gon broke his arm. Gon broke, a 12-year-old gripped an assassin's arm one-handed and broke it with his, like, palm grip. Like, these Whale Island children are not to be messed with. He also lifted him up above his head like it was nothing, which granted, we just watched him, like, carry 3 grown-ass people out of a cave. So this is not surprising. I want to point out to you all, I want to show you the animation of this because it cracks me up every time. So Gon lifts Illumi up into the air. Illumi is not even, like, bothered. Illumi is just like, oh, I guess I'm in the air now. Also, his little, like, cobble maker loafers are hilarious. But I want you to watch this moment where he lets him down. I like that everybody's freaked out. Hisoka's like, hey, easy on the goods. But when he lays him down, watch his hair. Watch his hair. The most luxurious locks. Why is his hair so perfect? It's not fair. He's like, I was sitting there. And Gon's like, he doesn't need to earn the right to be my friend. Just him crushing his arm is crazy. Gon has little anger management problems when you threaten his friends. Let it be known. Let it be known. And Illumi is like, oh. I like that Illumi realizes his arm's getting broken, but he's like, okay. Illumi doesn't fight back, which is interesting. And then, yeah, he's like, this boy is dangerous. I like that when Gon looks in his eyes, there's no spirals. Again, the spirals are metaphorical. This boy. And then Gon, like, just grabs him and says, don't bother apologizing. Just take me to see Killua. And he's like, well, what are you going to do? He's like, well, we're going to have a sleepover. He's like, that should be obvious. I'm going to go rescue him. I love Killua being the damsel in distress, and Gon's like, I'm going to go get him. I freaking love it so much. And then Illumi's like, I didn't kidnap him. He's like, well, basically, you made him leave and probably go back home. So yes, it wasn't by choice. Thus, it is a kidnapping. He's being manipulated by you people. I like Ahsoka's like, quite. Meanwhile, Netero's like, hey, excuse me, we're having the orientation. We're talking about this very subject. Kurapika and Leorio have lodged complaints with the committee. And so they talk about Kurapika talks about Killua and how he thinks he was hypnotized into committing murder. Now, do I think that Killua was hypnotized in committing murder? No. I think that Kurapika is right to assume that, but I don't think he actually was. I think it is the byproduct of a lot of conditioning and a lot of Pavlovian responses and a lot of pent-up trauma and all of this stuff adding up to him venting his frustrations by killing Botaro. But they're like, Killua was raised in a family of assassins. Murder was part of his daily life, so it's natural he would lack the ethical restraint of most. And he's like, I want to mention that what happened between the match between Botaro and me, I like Leorio's willing to throw himself under the bus. I'm like, it was reminding me of in All-Stars 2 on Drag Race where Ginger Min just like, you know, and Katya, if you had put your name out there, I would have gone home instead of you. I'm like, what? No, just Leorio, stay out of the conversation. Nobody's going to disqualify you, so quit. Nobody else is getting disqualified. My favorite part of this whole thing, when they're arguing, and Netero's like, well, there's no proof. There were no clear signs of manipulation, and they're arguing about it. And then in the midst of all this, while it's going on, I love that Gon is like, it doesn't matter. I love that Gon's just whispering. He's like, I don't have time for this. None of this matters. We all passed. Killua did not. The point is, let's go find Killua and rescue him. Freaking love it, Gon. Love it. Pakal brings up that Kurapika had that whispered to him by Hisoka, and of course all of us want to know what happened. Now, they acknowledge that with Botaro, something was said to him that would get, they're like, because he admits that Hisoka whispered something in your ear right before conceding. He's like, I'd understand surrendering after your opponent whispered something to you, like Hanzo whispered to Pakal that he was going to torture him, and Pakal's like, I'm out. Hisoka whispered something to Botaro, and he was out. I would have been more concerned. Here's my thing. If I were Pakal, I would have been asking Hisoka what he said to Kurapika, and Hisoka what he said to Botaro. Because I'm like, Kurapika's clearly not going to tell you. He's this man of principle. He's not just going to come out and say it. But I would have turned around and asked Hisoka. But last episode set, we established that Pakal considers Hisoka a big threat and doesn't like him. So that, to me, explains why he didn't ask Hisoka. He just didn't even want to talk to him. Now, Hisoka, of course, is not going to offer anything up because he's an agent of chaos and does not want to lead to anything like clear or concise happening. He's like, I wonder if you struck some sort of bargain. And Kurapika's like, well, why would I strike a bargain with Hisoka? And then I like that Kurapika's like, well, you know, if my victory is odd, you know, you just winning by default, how is that any different? I was like, ooh, the shade. The shade. Meanwhile, Gon says none of it matters. I love it. I love that Gon's like, no, let's just forget this. And Lumi's like, what are you saying there? And they're like, and then that's when Hanzo's like, I just want to leave. And Gon's like, none of this matters. I just want to see my friend. Gon being distraught and wanting to see his bestie is everything. I love this so much. He's like, it doesn't matter who passed, who didn't pass. What matters is, he's like, you can keep working until you're satisfied. If Killua retakes the Hunter exam, he'll definitely pass. Here's the thing. For some reason, I thought that Killua was a hunter by the end of this arc. I guess he's not. Maybe I'm misremembering. But, I mean, Gon's right. He could easily pass it if he took it again. There's no way he wouldn't. So Gon's like, it doesn't matter if he passed or not. What matters is finding him, convincing him that we're friends, and then we go off and do things. And he's like, if you've been forcing Killua to kill against his will all this time, I love that Gon's like, then I'll make you pay. As he's breaking his arm, he's like, if you've been doing this to him, then just know that you're on my shit list. And Illumi's like, I'm being threatened by a 12-year-old. Make me pay. What exactly will you do? And Gon's like, I won't do anything. But once I rescue Killua, I'll never let you see him again. I love that. I love that Gon is like, I'm not gonna hurt you because you'd probably get off on it. And I'm not gonna do that to you. But what I am gonna do is I'm gonna take Killua away and you will never get to see him again. That is like, if you are somebody that's toxic and abusing someone, then what you want over that person more than anything else is you want control and access to them because that makes you feel more powerful. So Gon's saying, I'm just not going to let you see your brother ever again. Your brother's going to stay with me in a safe, healthy, controlled environment. You're not going to get to see him anymore. So how about that? There goes your control. I love it. And Illumi like reaches for him like he's going to touch him, and then Gon's like, no. Like the Gon's like, no, stranger danger. Also, the fact you can see like Illumi's hand is wiggly after he lets it go, that's crazy. He's like, nope, bye. That seems like a strange, bad touch. We're not going to do that. I wonder if there is something to when Illumi touches you. I wonder if that does anything. Does that activate something? Does it cause anything to happen? I don't know. That's so weird to me. I don't know he tried to do it to Killua, and it clearly had some effect. So interesting. But yeah, and Netero's like, is everybody done? Can we go back to this? Gon's correct. You have to decide if you're worthy of passing. You can complain about the results all you like, But we will not be changing our minds. Killua has been disqualified. The rest of you passed. And so that's it. And he's like, I love Mr. Edamame. He's like, may I continue? Mr. Edamame, who is perhaps in a relationship with Satotes, we'll see. So, the card that's been passed out is your hunter license. Let's talk about these hunter licenses. Shall we? Shall we talk about this? Let's talk about the perks. We're going to talk about the perks up here in the green. So, you can enter 90% of the countries that limit immigration. We're learning about the world that has been built upon in this, which is fascinating to me. So there are countries that limit immigration into them. You can enter them however you want to, so that's fun. You can, any country that limits immigration, oop, I grabbed purple instead of green. You can enter 90% of those. That's crazy. Also, we have the world in the background. We're going to talk about it in a second. Yeah. And 75% of the restricted areas of the world. So there are also 75% of restricted areas. We're learning a little bit about the countries in general. We're learning that some have immigration restrictions, much like our own world. We're learning about restricted areas in the world. You get 75% access to all those. That's crazy. Also, if you look like the world, you can see that like there's the bottom part there kind of looks like North America a little bit. And then some of this over on the right-hand side looks like South America and Asia there. The part where Killua's family is looks like Africa. Killua's family looks like Africa. And then I don't know if that's supposed to be South America. That is where they're all from. I don't know exactly. It's a big old, it's, you know, kind of looks like our world, but different. So yeah. And Hanzo's like, well, that is crazy. Yes, that's a lot. Also, free access to 95% of public facilities. So 95% free access to public facilities. You want to go to an art museum that has an exhibit that's $50? Not for you. It's free. Yeah, and transportation. Yeah, public facilities. They talk about transportation. Here's the thing. Transportation, utilities like water, meetings, gambling, and a line of credit that rivals large corporations. Now, that's not cash. Let's not get it twisted. That is a giant line of credit. There is a lot of greed that could easily be associated with the hunters because you're not only getting access to wherever you want to go, you're basically a celebrity. Once you're a hunter, you're basically a celebrity. You get to go in the VIP lines of most places, but you can get a line of credit as big as a corporation, meaning you can put a loan or a down payment on a lot of things. Doesn't give you money, but anybody that's ever used credit to buy something knows that it can get you some pretty good deals in the moment if you need it, whether you pay it back or not. Yeah. And Leorio and them are like, okay. I mean, for Leorio, the line of credit would be great. That could be him starting up his doctor's firm, right? Or a line of credit to pay for tuition to go to university and become a doctor. So for Leorio, that's going to be really handy. And for Kurapika, having that line of credit means he can possibly get access to things to sell to pay off other people. If you sell the card, you would have enough money to last 7 lifetimes. So if you decide to sell your card, it's basically worth 7 times a lifetime of wealth. So probably in like the millions. Probably in the millions if I were to guess, right? But he also says if you keep it, you can still be living comfortably. Well, yeah, 95% free access to public facilities. Does that include hotels? You could stay in a hotel the rest of your life for free and just travel around the world staying in hotels. What do you think Jing's been doing? He's not been slumming it in the temples. He's probably been staying in a hotel at least. But yeah, you could have access to all these things and this line of credit to buy whatever you wanted. You could live in comfort. Yeah, Pakal is correct. This is a card that has a lot of heaviness to it. So take extra care that your license isn't lost or stolen. I feel like that's the first, they even said it here, you won't receive a replacement. According to our estimates, here's the thing that's like, wait a minute, hold on. 1 in 5 hunters lose their card within a year of receiving it. 1 in 5. There's 7 there, so somebody's bound to lose their card, right? This is the part that got me, was that 1 in 5 lose their card within a year. Hi, this is a problem. Look, on the one hand, you might be like, oh, well, they lost their card. They deserved to have it lost or whatever. That is irrelevant. It's who took their card that is a problem. Because again, back here, you can sell your card. So again, if a nefarious person were to steal your card from you and then walk around and be like, yeah, I bought it off of them. Unless you could trace who stole your card and prove you didn't sell it to them, no one would know. So there is a chance that there is a large group of people walking around using the resources that are the perks when they didn't actually pass the exam and they possibly killed or stole from the people that actually did. So, and the Hunter organization does not seem bothered by the fact that 1 in 5 lose their card. They're like, oh, well, this just ends up happening. I'm like, what if you have an entire organization of people that have stolen Hunter cards and they formed like a terrorist group and they're nefariously taking advantage of the system and the Hunter organization's like, well, it happens. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. So as a hunter, your first challenge is to protect your card. And I like that Illumi looks over at Gon in this. Illumi's not looking at the bean. Illumi is looking directly at Gon. Do I think Gon would give Killua his card? Not until he's met his dad. Not until he's met his dad. No. Do I think that it would be cool if Killua took Illumi's card? That'd be pretty bitchin'. That'd be pretty cool. It'd be cool karma if Illumi took his brother's card away from him for himself. That would be pretty bitching. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I could see Killua taking a card from somebody, but it'd have to be under like ethical circumstances, I think, for him to do it because he'd be afraid Gon wouldn't approve. It would be cool if Killua took his brother's card. That'd be pretty awesome, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I don't know. Whenever Satote said that the challenge, the exam was still going, I feel like keeping your card from being stolen, it could be part of the exam still. Like, they made a very big point to say, don't lose your card as soon as you get it. So there's a very big possibility that the exam is still going on, and it could last another year to see if they lose their card or not. That could very well be. I don't know. And he's like, well, now you get to go and fulfill your dreams. We have 7 members here to be new hunters. And there we go. I like that Hisoka gets the most, like, spread of this. Kurapika's at the top. Killua's looking directly at Illumi. Illumi seems like they're looking up longingly into Hisoka's eyes, and Hisoka's looking longingly into Illumi's. And then Pakla and Hanzo and Leorio are happy to be here. Damn. Okay. So, then we have afterwards, I love this scene so much. I love this scene so much. Where I like that he's like, he calls him by that name, the G name, and then he's like, or, he comes up to him, and I like that Illumi's like, yes, tell me where Killua is. I like that Gon doesn't even call him Illumi. He calls him Gitaraka or whatever his fake name was. I'm like, ooh. And so Illumi's like, well, are you really going to go take him away? And he's like, I think that's a bad idea. And Gon's like, I don't care what you think. Killua is my friend. I'm taking him with me. God, I love it. I love it. It's just, the shipping. And Illumi's like, okay, sure. He's like, do they feel the same way? And Leorio and Kurapika are like, yeah, we're his adopted parents. We kind of we're supportive of their relationship. You bet. And like Kurapika's like, I like the little detail of the scar on Kurapika's face has faded. That's interesting. Yeah. And I actually really like Illumi's little face here, Where Illumi's like, oh, I like him being like, Illumi is really cute. Illumi is creepy. Creepy, toxic, don't like their abusiveness, but they are aesthetically like really cute, right? And he's like, okay, fine. He's like, I doubt you'll be able to make it there anyway. Which, that doesn't surprise me that Illumi would think that. Illumi, since they're a family of assassins, and based on what he tells Hisoka, I bet he doesn't think that they can make it there. He's like, I doubt you'd make it there. So Killua went home. And he's like, home? And he's like, yes, Kukuru Mountain. Our family lives at the very top. Here's the thing. I'm sure that he thinks, one, they can't make it because you can see those dragon gates, which love a dragon motif. You can see the dragon gates there and the big scary mountain and everything. I'm sure if they live at the very top, here's the thing. They're a family of assassins. Of course, they'd have the high ground. They probably have snipers at the top of the mountain sniping off people that try to get up there to the mansion. So I'm sure there's that. I'm sure there are traps. I'm sure that there are people, bodyguards walking around the mansion. They're assassins. They probably have a guild. So I'm sure that Illumi's like, sure, go find our house. Go to our mansion. See if you can make it there. Good luck. I feel like Illumi is pretty confident they're not going to be able to make it. He's like, Kukuru Mountain. He's like, got it, thanks. And then Gon's like, I'm done talking to you. Gon is normally so polite and kind to people, but with Illumi, he's like, bye, bitch. No time to talk to you. See ya. This is my favorite conversation, I think, in the entire episode set, because I'm such a shipper of them. But Hisoka's like, is it really okay for an assassin to give away his base of operations? Because here's the thing. This is where Illumi and Hisoka are very different. Hisoka plays things very close to the chest. He does not like to give away his hand, so to speak, and he doesn't like to reveal things about him. Hisoka seems super private and doesn't want to talk about anything regarding himself. Illumi's just like, what do you want to know? Sure, I'll tell you anything. I don't care. So they're very, very different. And Illumi, I love that he says, well, it's not a secret or anything. He's like, the locals all know where we live. I love the realness of that, because there's something about in other series where there's like a secret evil bad guy hideout and you're like, well, what about the locals that live around? Do they not notice? I love that Illumi just comes out and says, he's like, oh, the locals are all terrified of us. They know where we live, but they don't mess with us. So I guess eventually they'd find out. So what difference does it make? I love that. I love the openness of that. He's like, I'm sure they'll see the light once they arrive. Basically, he's like, once they get there and see how hard it is, he's like, they're not going to be able to make it up to the mansion or up to whatever their home looks like, but might be surprised. And that's when Hisoka notices, like, we live in completely different worlds. And that's the thing that goes with Illumi telling Killua, he's like, you can't have friends. You can't live a life that's outside an assassin's, because this is how it is for us. We're different. We're a different breed of people. And Killua's not about that life. I do love that Hisoka looks down and sees his arm. That's wild. And he's like, oh, this? He's like, yeah, it's broken. Here's the thing. Hanzo, when he broke Gon's arm, it was a clean break. That ain't no clean break. That ain't no clean break. That ain't gonna break clean. Yes, it's broken. And Hisoka is so horny about that. He's like, oh my god, right? He broke your arm. Isn't that crazy? Oh my god. Like, he's like, he has incredible potential. I can understand why you want to see him grow up. Here is an interesting part of all of this. Because Illumi's like, he has a lot of potential. He's really strong. I could see why you'd want to wait and fight him when he was an adult and you guys could be on a similar playing field. But then he's like, didn't I tell you? And Ahsoka says that like he's a proud parent. He's like, didn't I tell you? He's going to be like so strong when he gets older and then we'll be able to fight. Isn't that awesome? But Illumi, he thinks to himself, that makes him all the more dangerous. Illumi is thinking in terms of, like he told Killua, he's thinking like an assassin. He's like, yeah, Gon has all this potential, but he just broke my arm right now. Why would we let him grow up? Like, letting him grow up is a possible threat. We don't need that. He's very dangerous. And then he says, this would be the best chance. He's like, while he's young, while he's not grown up, this would be my chance to get rid of him. Let's just do it now and not take any chances. And in that moment, he senses the intent from Hisoka. And it's not like the killing bloodlust aura that has been exuding from Hisoka before. It's not like that. It's not like the bloodlust he had towards Netero. It's not like the bloodlust he's had after when Gon was watching him in the forest. It's not like that at all. Instead, it's something different. This is him, like, it's literally one lion looking to the other lion and saying, Gon is my prey. You don't get to kill him. Oh, he's like, touch him and you'll suffer the consequences. Touch him and there's no sex for a year. One of the reasons I ship them so hard is because there's some kind of like, there's this weird predatory if you're Hisoka. But there's this predatorial, like, just not a rivalry between him and Illumi, but there's this predatorial kind of like carnal, like, mutual understanding between the two of them. They're both killers, and they're both proud of their ability to kill others, and they're both like, no, this is my prey, that's your prey, and we'll just let it be at that. And they both get that, and Illumi's like, I know. Illumi's like, it would be smart if we killed him, but since you're gonna wait and kill him later, that's fine, I'm just pointing it out. What? Crazy. I've known you for a short while, but I know your tastes. So, Illumi and Hisoka have not known each other for long. They've known each other for just a little while. They're already matching outfits. Let's be frank. They're matching snatched waists and crop tops with the same damn sleeves. They both sewed their outfits together in the same damn sewing room. They've known each other for a short time. He's like, but I already understand your tastes. I'm like, do you? Do you, sir? And he's like, so, Hisoka, what are you going to do now? And he's like, wait patiently. And then he gets creepy. And then he talks about, for fruit to ripen, dear God, keep him within 500 feet. 500 yards. Please, sir, God. They're both so creepy and toxic and horrible, but I want them both to stay together and be creepy, toxic, horrible together away from everybody else. Is that okay? Can we do that? Yeah. So, again, Togashi is just like, hey, you know what? What if there were laptops in this world? What if there were laptops? What if the internet existed? Isn't that crazy? Togashi just doing whatever the hell he wants. I kind of respect it so much. So before they get to Pockle, Kurapika's like, we could look it up online. Again, one thing to keep in mind is that this series was originally created in the late 1990s. So there is a aspect of the series that, like, people's cell phones, they're not like our cell phones now that are basically mini computers. That's not it. So you can't text and look up, and use Google Maps or whatever to find your location. You had to literally do like you would in 1999, get on a computer at a library and look it up. Although around that time, laptops were pretty, it's interesting because laptops were around in the 90s, but I'm not from a wealthy family. My family was pretty poor. So when I think of laptops in the 90s, I think of only really wealthy people had them. So for Pockle to have a laptop is pretty interesting because I wouldn't peg him as someone who would have the money to have a laptop of all things. Because even Leorio doesn't have one, and Leorio is kind of poor. But the other characters that seem wealthy that we've met so far don't have one. So, which I can't see Hisoka and them carrying around a laptop. That's really cumbersome. But yeah, it's interesting. And then that's when we meet Hanzo. I like that Gon is so nice to Hanzo. Like, even though Hanzo did break his arm and do all that, Gon he doesn't hold a grudge against him. He treats it like it's nothing. He's like, it was a short and yet seemingly long acquaintance, but I had fun. Yeah, a short but seemingly long acquaintance. That's crazy. For us, the audience, it feels like it's been a while. But for them, it's only been like a week, right? Like barely a week. Well, okay, they were on Zevil Island for a week. They were in Trick Tower for like 4 days. So they've known each other for about a month, right? Let's just say a month to be safe. He's like, I can show you the best tourist spots. I love how he gives him his business card. Cloud Hidden Ninja Hanzo. And they're all like, for being a ninja. He's pretty open about talking about himself. So then we have Pockle. I like that Pockle and Kropika make up as well. I like that they're both like, hey, we were just both emotional back there, right? Good. And so Pockle is like, I only got mad because you were right. I did win by default and it was bugging me. He's like, now the question is what to do next. And Pockle says he's going to travel the world gathering information to be an exotic game hunter and discover new species. I feel like that's setting up things. I mean, obviously, Hanzo being like, come visit me is setting up things, but we didn't actually get to hear about what Hanzo is going to do. He's just going back home. But Pockle specifically says what he wants to do next. Like, instead of being a gourmet hunter, he's like, I'm going to be an exotic game hunter. That feels really specific, and like, we're going to go back to it at some point. So, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see where we do. Yeah. Anyway, he's like, well, what's that? And he's like, oh, it's the thing you can use to find all kinds of information. Again, this is the 90s when this series was made, so a laptop was not something everybody had. It was a pretty revolutionary thing. And then Gon's like, could you look up a hunter named Jing? He's like, Jing freaks. Two things about that name. One, there is the word free in that name. Jing freaks. The name free is in it, so freedom, Gon being free, all this power, being a hunter makes you free because you can travel the world and do whatever you want. There is that symbolism tied to it, but also with the CSS on the end, it spells freaks. It's pronounced freaks. Like they're freaks of nature. Like they're freaks of hunters. I'm just saying, it just seems like it's going to correlate and be something like that. We'll see. I mean, Gon is a freak of nature. So, and Satotes hears him talking about it and is like, oh, is that his kid? Ho ho! Satotes is like, well, that all makes sense now. Love it. And so then Minchi and them notice that Satotes is going over to him. He's like, now this part's a little bit suspicious, where he's like, oh, all information related to him is behind a tight security system that requires a bunch of different accesses. Now, we established that your hunter pass gets you into all of this freebie stuff that most of the population can't have access to, and you can't access any information about Jing because it's behind a bunch of paywalls. Who put it behind those paywalls? Who made it have a bunch of accesses? What is that? I don't know. I don't remember, to be honest with you. This isn't the spoiler corner yet, but I don't remember enough about Jing to know why all this access is restricted on him and why he's gone to such lengths to make it to where nobody can find any information about him. I don't know if he just doesn't want his son to find out about him, or if he's trying to keep other people from finding out about him to hold him like hostage or something against his son. I don't know. I don't know why, but it's very suspect. It's very weird. And Gon, he's like, he has some serious influence even at a national level. And Gon's like, really? Huh? He's like, well, forget it then. I would be asking questions like, why? Why does my dad have all this like access restrictions? And Leorio's like, your dad seems somebody really special. Like, that's kind of crazy. And Gon's like, ha 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 ha. I wouldn't be ha-haing. I'd be like, yeah, what's up with that? I mean, Satotes gives him an answer, but we're going to talk about that answer. He's like, well, let me know if anything else comes up. And then as he's leaving, he's like, here's my email address. And Gon keeps that. That should be noted. Gon has kept Pockle's email address. We need to keep a hold of that in his little green pant pockets. Hopefully he takes it out if he washes them. And they're like, damn it, we should have asked him about Kookaroo Mountain. And he's like, well, we're all hunters now, so we can go look it up on our own. And Kropika does bring up a good point. He's like, we shouldn't just let other hunters know what we're doing. It's important that we don't just give all of our cards away. We don't want people targeting us on top of everything. So yeah, then Satotes is like, hey, can I talk to you privately? He's like, you forgot this. And I like that Leorio and Kropika's like, you guys have a chat. We'll be waiting in the hallway. My pair, my ship. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they go off to make out in the lobby. And he's like, I couldn't help but hear your conversation. So Satotes says he specializes in the discovery, restoration and preservation of ancient ruins. I kind of like that. From what we got in the first exam, it wasn't really clear what kind of hunter Satotes was. He looks very pristine, like he would, be an antiquer. So that makes sense that he keeps all of that. Like, that's his job. So, but he wants to be the type of hunter that Jing is. And he talks about how Jing, I was watching a certain hunter at work. I came to feel ashamed. Now, I don't know what this drop is, but it shows Jing leading a bunch of guys like an archaeologist. He spent his own money to completely restore and took steps to preserve the ruins for future generations. So, what we know about Jing is that he preserves and restores ruins. Okay? And he uses his own money to fund the projects. Did he take any of that money and send it back home to Aunt Mito to raise their kid? I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Was he paying child support this whole time? I mean, Mito's not his mom, but seriously, ensuring ordinary people would have a chance to see them. This is interesting to me because it's like Jing, on the surface, that seems really well and good that he's been like preserving these projects for the population to see. That's real cute. Speaking of future generations, did you know you had a son at home? Did you know that you left a child on an island by themselves while you went off and did these magical projects and you didn't once talk to him or send him a letter or tell him you loved him? Did you forget about that? I mean, that seems like I'd probably correlate the two of them together. I don't know. That's kind of insane to me. He's like, I was more impressed by his dedication to his job than by the beauty of the ruins. It's like, yeah, your old man, he dedicated his heart and soul to all of these projects and ruins. And then meanwhile, Gon's over here like, wow, I'm not going to hold it against him for not dedicating any time for me. I would have, though. The work he did to preserve those ruins has been documented in manuals and used all around the world. So he's a tech writer, he's an archaeologist, he's a preservationist. Now, to be fair to Jing, did a lot of those projects he worked on occur before he had Gon? These are all great questions. That could very well be. And Gon is impressed by what his dad's been doing. He's like, and this hunter Gon-kun was Jing Freaks, the man you were asking about. And Gon is so proud. I mean, on the one hand, Gon is not somebody that holds a grudge against anybody except for Illumi and Ahsoka. But Gon he's proud of his dad. He's like, oh, my dad's this really cool hunter. And this is like the first he's ever heard about his dad. And the way that Satotes talks, his dad seems like an amazing person that's done all these great, wonderful things that the hunter community and the population of the world praise him for. Like, that's so cool. He's like, I wished to meet him, so I did some investigating. However, quite frankly, he's an enigma. So Satotes has never met Jing. He just knows the rumors, knows the work he's done, has tried to find him, but has had no luck. So he's never met him. I wasn't able to learn anything about him. And he's like, well, that figures. Gon's like, you and everybody else in the world, so imagine that. And he's like, my goal is to become a hunter like him. My dream is to thank him in person one day. So I like that. I like that Satotes wants to meet him in person too. So he's, wishing Gon the best of luck, And Gon's like, yeah, me too. I want to see him. He's like, that's all I had to say. That's really sweet. I like that Satotes is so soft around Gon. It's really adorable. He's like, sorry for interrupting you. And he's like, oh, it's all right. Thanks for everything, Satotes-san. Aw. And he's like, oh, Gon-kun. And he's like, And that's when he says, never mind. Take care of yourself. Was he going to talk about the exam then? Was he going to say that then? But he held back? Interesting. I don't know. So they all get together. I like this marble column there. And I love that they look online And he's like, Kookaroo Mountain. And here we go. This feels like 1999 Windows. So there's the mountain. There's the town where it is in the Dentora region of the Republic of Padokia. Like, the Republic of Padokia? Never heard of it. Where is it? And he's like, hold on. I'll bring up a map. So yeah, we get the map on there. You can kind of see Australia. You can see how they've like made South America and Asia all go in there. And there's like, they've taken also North America and all that, and Africa. They're over here in this part here. I don't know if that's supposed to represent Europe or whatever it is. And then clearly where Killua and them are is like Africa. Also, I think what's telling is they say it looks like to be a stable country. So there are unstable countries in this world. It allows ordinary tourists. So that's a thing. Some places don't allow tourists. And it looks like it would take 3 days by airship to reach. And so Gon's like, let's go right now. And he's like, all right, we'll order tickets. I love it. They're just ready to go on a vacation. Also, this feels so real. The idea of this traffic jam all up and down the coast. And then they all get sick of it and they're like, let's just go. And I like that they liken it to being hunters, like the hunter exam. They're like, you know, if we could run all those miles with Satotes, this is a breeze. Do you realize how far away the airport is? He's like, it's fine. It's so cute. I love all of them together. This reminds me of the hunter exam, but it's nothing compared to it. Yeah, I love it. And so there they go. But that's not the end of our adventures for our dears. They're like, that was a close call. You were watching. He's like, yeah, the boy is a mystery, and I find myself wanting to help him. He's an enigma, just like Jing. I almost let the cat out of the bag. About how the real hunter exam, yes, the real hunter exam hasn't ended yet. Okay. So there were just one flower at the beginning when Gon left. Now there's 3. So what is the real hunter exam? Is it getting... What are we doing with the real hunter exam? How does that work? What's going to happen with that? I don't remember. Is it going to involve rescuing Killua? Does that determine what the real hunter exam is? I don't know. But I'm super excited. I'm super excited. We still have a spoiler corner to talk about. I have not forgotten about that. But oh my gosh. I love any interaction with Killua and Illumi. It's heartbreaking. It's horrific. It's toxic. It's so enthralling. Like, I just get sucked into their drama. And Gon being like, nah, bitch, I'm gonna go protect my friend. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. I just love it. I love it to pieces. So yes. It's awesome. I'm so here for it. I'm excited to hear your thoughts down below if you're not sticking around for the spoiler corner. But if you are sticking around for the spoiler corner, we got some spoilers to talk about. So with that being said, this episode set was amazing. This is again gonna be over a 2-hour discussion by the time I'm done with this. I can't help it, y'all. This series begs for it to happen. So if you're not sticking around, I hope you all had a wonderful week. I'm excited to hear your comments down below. Let me know what y'all thought. But if you are sticking around for the spoiler corner, we're going to begin here. Otherwise, I'll be back next week with episodes 22 and 23 of Hunter x Hunter. I'm so glad that we can talk about Illumi now. It's been so hard. It's been so hard convincing myself to say Mr. 301. Mr. 301, it feels like a Pitbull ad. It's been so hard. Now I can say Illumi, which is so great. I forgot about this dream. I don't get what Jing's thing is. Okay, one of the last arcs that I got to in the anime involved, I think that Killua and Gon got a clue as to where Jing is. They got a clue. And then Jing leads them on this wild goose chase. It's maybe my least favorite part. It was my least favorite part watching at the time, other than Trick Tower. And so when we get to that part, I'll probably be like, maybe I'll have a better appreciation for it the second time around when I can actually pay attention and talk about it. Maybe I'll have a better appreciation. But I remember that Jing leaves them a clue. And then it's the biggest wild goose chase that leads to nothing. And I'm like, what the fudge, Jing? So maybe I'll have a better appreciation of it when we get to it. So that'll be a long time from now, but it'll be okay. When we get to it, we will. I just don't like Jing. I don't like him. I think the fact that he's known for all these amazing accomplishments as a hunter, but he fails as a father, which should be the most basic thing you do, is telling. But Gon doesn't see it that way, so what can we do? I do love Satotes. I will be honest with y'all, Satotes flew under my radar the first time I watched this show. I completely did not remember him, and now I love his character. This whole episode set with Satotes and Gon connecting, I freaking love it. He is so sweet. I love him in this. Satotes warms my heart, and I hope nothing bad happens to him. I don't remember if it does or not, but I just love him so much. So we talked last week, in the last episode set, that yeah, I thought Killua got disqualified, but I couldn't remember who died, and I wondered if Bodero died. My brain was sparking back to life. Yes, Bodero is dead. He gets killed by Killua. And then Illumi reveals himself. Oh my god, this reveal was amazing. Here's the thing. I know now why the person in the intro for the last episode said they were like, are you going to be watching the first arc through episode 21 or waiting till 26? Because at the end of this set, it's like, okay, we're going to go find Killua. There's no way I was going to skip an entire, like, what is it? 22, 23, 24, 25. 26 is a recap episode. So there's 4 episodes left of this arc, which only means we have 2 weeks left, which is crazy, before this arc is done. I was not going to skip that. No. And now that I know where we are in the story, the last 4 episodes are them rescuing Killua. I'm pretty sure. It's them going to Kukuro Mountain. It's them going to the mountain and finding Killua. That's the next 4 episodes. I'm so excited. We get to meet the butler girl. I'm excited for her. She's amazing. I can't wait to see her. I'll be honest, I don't remember the siblings with Killua. I know he has another brother. I think Miluki is the other brother. I know there's a nerdy brother. There's a nerdy brother that reminds me of Nicholas from the first exam. There's a nerdy brother that reminds me of Nicholas. There's a Illumi. There's a sister who kind of reminds me of Perona from One Piece a little bit. There's a sister, there's another brother, there's a Illumi. I don't know if there's any more than that. I know there's 3 other siblings and Killua, which would make sense because if there's 4 siblings, 4 is the number of death. That would make sense. So I don't remember if Killua is the youngest or not. I think Illumi is the oldest. And then I think the second oldest is Miluki. Or Muluki. What is it? It is Miluki. I think Miluki is the second eldest. Then I think it might be Killua and then the sister, or it's the sister and then Killua. Cannot remember. But if there's any other siblings, I don't recall them. I don't remember the parents at all. I just know he has them. And I remember that they go to rescue Killua. That's all coming back to me now. And I think they come across the childhood friend that's the butler, which again is like the childhood friend is the butler. So is she really a friend? But we're going to touch on that. I don't remember how they rescue him. I don't remember the reunion. I don't remember any of that, but I know it's going to happen and I'm really excited because I had forgotten how pissed Gon was and I had forgotten that Gon broke Illumi's hand, his arm. I forgot about that. Like Gon was so mad and this just fuels my ship for them so much, especially with seeing the differences between Killua and Gon in this episode. But yeah, I don't remember what happens with Hanzo. Where I ended this series before I went on my hiatus from it, I think Pakal was showing back up. I remember Pakal and Ponzu being together at the end, but I don't remember what happened to them, if they died or not. I remember Pakal and Ponzu were together at the end, because I kind of wanted to, when we first saw Pakal and Ponzu in the first exam, I kind of wanted to ship them, because I'm like, weren't they together? But then when they were completely separate throughout this entire Hunter exam, I'm like, okay, they aren't together. But I think where I ended up at, it was starting a new arc and they were together in it. And it has something to do with what Pakal is doing, because he talked about exotic game hunting. So that's going to come back way down the road. That's where I ended. That's as far as I got in the series. So we'll see what happens with that. Anyway, so we had Hisoka versus Kurapika. The two of them fought for a while. Here's the thing. In this part, Kurapika gets the scratch on their cheek. The cut. I'm going to tell you all the spoiler that I know. I think Hisoka tells Kurapika something about the Phantom Troop. I think that Hisoka tells Kurapika something about the Phantom Troop, being like, I'm a member of it, or I know someone in it, or I know who's looking for you, or who you're looking for. Hisoka knows somebody. I think Hisoka tells Kurapika something about the Phantom Troop. I think that's what they whispered in that moment. The other thing is Kurapika has this scar now on their cheek. The one thing I do remember from the Phantom Troop is the leader of the Phantom Troop has a big old cross on his forehead that looks kind of like that scar that's now on Kurapika's cheek. So do with that what you will, but I know that, I think, is it Crollo? I think Crollo is his name. I'm not going to say anything more about Crollo because it's been a while, but that's going to be a fun time. I remember one thing with him, and it's so iconic, but we're nowhere near that, so we're going to wait on it. We're going to wait until it happens. But I do remember something with him. Like, my only memory of him is it involves a classical music number, but we're not there yet. So, yeah, so I had forgotten about this moment with Hisoka and Kurapika, but I think it's about the Phantom Troop. I had forgotten that Killua killed Botaro. I was trying to figure out last week on Whiteboard Kun, how did we get here? And the way that we got here was that Killua let Pakal go. That was the thing. He got cocky. He let Pakal go. He thought he had a chance against Mr. 301, and then Illumi popped out, and no, it was over. That Illumi, honestly, even though Killua is so traumatized, they've never animated him better. It's so sad. Like, Killua is horribly traumatized in these scenes, but he's animated amazing, and it's like, damn it. And again, Illumi looks like the thief and the cobbler. He's just like, he just is like a doll. He looks like a doll. There's no other way to describe him. There's no light in his eyes whatsoever. Like, Killua has lights in his eyes. Illumi has none. His, like, and the pins have, like, pierced his body. It's crazy. He looks kind of like a rag doll. And the pins in him make it look like he's, like, sewn together. But then his arm has, like, blood and stuff on it. So there was a part of me that wondered, I'm like, is Illumi, like, has he replaced parts of his body or not for some reason? Because I think some characters in this series do that. I'm convinced Hisoka has done that with some of his organs. How you get that waist so snatched, I don't know any other way. But I don't think Illumi's done that. I don't remember. But I also don't think Illumi has actual hypnotic powers. I think he literally is just he has metaphorically just subdued Killua mentally, completely. I also love that Gon is just so done. And Killua just wants to be Gon's friend. That's so freaking sad. That's so sad. I can't remember if Gon gives Killua a hug or not, but he better do something, because Killua needs it. Also, fooling nobody, hand on that hip, sir. Illumi, really? I guess, yeah, and Hisoka being like, he's my prey. That's the thing. That's the only thing keeping Illumi from killing Gon, is because he doesn't want to fight Hisoka, because Hisoka is stronger than Illumi. That's the thing. He doesn't want to fight Hisoka, so he's going to leave Gon alone. But he's not going to tell Killua that. Not at all. That's wild. And then Killua surrendered to him. Damn. Like I said, I don't remember. I know they go after Killua at his house to go rescue him, but I don't remember how it happens. I just know them meeting the butler, and I think she takes them either to the house or helps them get up there, but I can't. It's been so long, I don't remember all the fine details, which is why next week and the week after is going to be a lot of fun to see it all go down, right? Seeing Illumi smile like this is creepy. It's so creepy. And honestly, this is the scariest. Like, he gives Killua the little pat, but this is the scariest one of all, because Killua has, like, those dead eyes in that moment, all the lights gone, and he's like, you don't get to make friends. He's like, me and Hisoka, we're not friends, we're just fuck buddies. There's a difference. I feel so bad for Killua. No. I do love the black and white theme of the black and white theme with their hair. It makes so much sense because literally as assassins, Illumi views everything as black and white. Like, it's this way or that way. There's no gray area. There's no room for friends. It's this or this. So the black and white makes a lot of sense. And you can't have Killua have white eyes with white hair. I mean, you could, but it wouldn't be aesthetically pleasing. So we're just going to make them blue. Right? Interesting. So yeah. And then poor Killua. He just leaves thinking that he has no other way to be in this world, and Gon's like, not if I have something to say about it. So yeah, so then back to this other episode. I forgot all about most of episode 21, like the stuff about the organization and the cards and how they basically let you do anything you want. They're a free pass to high society, which I guess it's like if you pay your dues into the system, you get in high society. Not everybody can. It's an elite organization. But seeing Gon get mad and genuinely upset for the sake of his friend, I love it. It's great. It makes me a little nervous for Gon. Because Gon is so passionate. I don't think we ever see Gon fly off the handle. Not that I remember. I remember him he faces Hisoka in one of those tower battles that we're never going to get. He faces Hisoka, but I don't think he gets mad in that. I think he's fighting Hisoka. I don't think he gets mad. I've never seen Gon in the series fly off the handle, but maybe we'll see it. I don't know. But I do think that at some point it would be interesting because Gon is so emotional and he's so reactive, especially when someone he cares about, that my fear is that if something happened to Kurapika or Leorio, Gon would absolutely lose it. Or if something happened to Killua, he would absolutely lose it. And the thing is, Illumi is not going to kill Killua because he wants to use him, right? Otherwise, he would have done it already. He would have killed Killua by now if he thought he was that much of a threat. But he knows he has control over Killua, so he can get away with it. But I'm like, I do think that at some point it would be interesting if Gon flew off the handle and Killua had to like rein him in and be the voice of reason. That would be interesting. I don't recall that happening, but I don't remember everything. So, and I remember things wrong sometimes, so we'll see. But yeah, I love Leorio and Kurapika I feel like Killua's actions in episode 20 when he's like, I don't want to kill people anymore. I just want to have friends. And then Gon's resolve to go find him has like made them go, yeah, we're going to help you. We're going to help you, Gon. Also, I feel sad that Kurapika's beautiful face has this scar on it now. Has a scar and we barely even got to see it created. We just know Hisoka caused it. I do love this shot of how ominous that Illumi makes the mountain and everything look. I love it. He's like, sure, you can go there. I love he just tells Hisoka, he's like, what, our house is in the public domain. He's like, everybody can look it up. That broken arm is crazy. And he's like, we should kill him now. And Hisoka's like, no. The one saving grace that Gon has in this series is that Hisoka will not let anybody else kill Gon until he can do it himself. Where that's going to take us, I don't know. But at least it saves him from being hurt by Illumi. At least. And so, yeah, then we got the stuff with Pakal and Hanzo, which we've talked about. And then Satotes. I do think it's suspicious that Jing has all this security around his information. I will be real with you all. I don't remember what this has to do with the future, except that I just don't like Jing. And I find him shady. But I'm sure that my memory will serve me as to why I think that as we get closer. And I can't remember because I talked about it last week. I thought I remembered that they defended Killua to get his license back. But now that I'm thinking back on it, I think that might have just been the whole, like, scene in the lecture hall where they were arguing whether or not Killua actually committed any crimes. I think that's where my memory was going. I don't think that them saving Killua will get him his license. However, if my memory, again, for some reason I'm thinking that maybe when they do the tower matches, wherever those are, does does Killua get a license from someone there? Does he buy a license from someone? Does he defeat somebody and get a license? Does he take it from the Phantom Troop? Does he take the exam? Is there going to be a period of time between the end of the arc where we save Killua and then we start the next arc where he gets to get that exam? I don't remember. So that's going to be fun to see if it actually like holds true or not. But yeah, I don't remember the stuff with Satotes either, and him talking about the exam not being done either. Of course, do I think that there's going to be trials of them forgetting and losing their license? Well, yes, I think there will be. Do I think that's part of what Satotes is talking about? I don't remember. I don't remember at all. But, he's like, I want to help him, but I almost let the cat out of the bag about how the real Hunter exam is not ended yet. Well, I don't know. I don't remember how it could not have ended. They got their licenses. They got all that, so I don't remember. I don't remember at all, dang it. Anyway, that's all I got for the spoiler corner. My memory is like, as we get more into it, I'm like, okay, I'm starting to remember little bits and pieces more of different parts, but my mind is still very fuzzy about certain things, so I'm going to be interested to see what we get in the future moving forward. So there's that. But anyway, I'm excited to hear your thoughts down below, what you thought about these 2 episodes. I can't believe we have 2 more weeks left of this arc. Crazy. And then once we do that, we'll be taking a little break and then coming back for the arc after that towards the summer. So that'll be fun. But anyway, so we won't worry about that yet. We still got 2 more weeks to go. I'm so excited for next week. I am going to wait and get some comments, do all that. But in any case, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back very soon with more Hunter x Hunter.